8 ERA. 20 and a third innings he's thrown so far this year, allowed 32 hits, 17 runs, 13 walks to 4 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting 364. And Jordan, on a day when you're going for the sweep, a very good opportunity for Utah Valley to get some positive momentum heading into a week where they're going to play BYU, who's playing very well on Tuesday night, and then get Sacramento State, who's a very dangerous team here in the Western Athletic Conference.
And arguably the best team in the WAC right now. So, just about underway. Out on the mound, Caden Schmidt from the windup. First pitch fastball in there for a strike. 11:02 a.m. the first pitch. Game time temperature brought to you by weather.com. 46 degrees here in Orem. A cool mid-morning start. The 0-1. That fastball misses up high to Jared Patterson. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. Utah Valley, as Ryan mentioned, won last night's ball game in walk-off fashion. They trailed 5-0 and came all the way back and won it in the bottom of the ninth. Fastball misses up high, 2 balls, 1 strike. You'll see some good velocity from Patterson. That fastball missing at 89 miles an hour. I say Patterson, Schmidt, I beg your pardon. The starter on the mound for the Wolverines. The 2-1 to Patterson at the plate. That one swung on and lifted high but fouled down the right field line, and the count is even at 2-2. Not a cloud in the sky. The wind before the ball game was swirling a bit, but now has died down. A beautiful, beautiful morning. 2-2 pitch. That one, fastball misses up and in, and the count is full. Utah Valley playing straight away defensively. Patterson, a .284 hitter this season. Here's the payoff pitch. Fastball missed up high. So, this is, well, we've been here before, I guess you could say, if you're Utah Valley, walking the leadoff man to begin the ball game.
Yeah, this is kind of what got Jackson Kofer in a little bit of trouble last night. You never want to give up walks and free passes, and really both teams in this series, when they've struggled on the mound, they've allowed a lot of walks, which has led to big innings for the other team. So a good opportunity here for Caden Schmidt to work through it and go after Mattingly Romanen.
So here is Romanen yesterday. Romanen doubled down the third base line in the first inning. Part of a 4-run first for the Cougars yesterday, or last night I should say. There's a check swing and a foul ball off to the right side. Patterson at first base, good speed. He's stolen 5 bags this season. He's been caught twice, now a throw over. He's back in standing. Romanen hitting from the right side. A .267 average this season. 1 home run. 15 runs batted in. There's a fastball in there for a strike. And it's 0-2. So a nice job here by Caden Schmidt to get ahead. 0-2. And we'll see what he comes with here. We've seen mostly fastballs so far. From the stretch, Schmidt peers in, now comes set at the belt. Checks the runner at first. The 0-2. Whoa, that looked like a cutter or slider there that just missed off the outside. That was a beautiful 0-2 pitch, and I don't know how you take that if you're Mattingly Romanen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Wolverines double play depth. No score, top of the first. Fastball misses up high, and it's 2-2. So that one wasn't close, and here comes Dave Carter, and he's going to have a word with Caden Schmidt.
And a couple of young pitchers, Jackson Kofer and Caden Schmidt, both freshmen, going in there. So a good visit here to the mound by Dave Carter, just to go settle him down early on. The other nice move I do like, you have Seth Rainier behind home plate tonight, which is actually a really good, probably one of those little things that someone might overlook, but you put the senior, the veteran behind the plate for them. Sorry, junior. Seth Rainier is a junior from Provo. You put someone that has WAC experience behind home plate working with the freshman. Smart move by Coach Eric Madsen.
So, Coach Carter will head back to the dugout. Schmidt has looked pretty good in this sequence, in this at-bat, so Dave must have seen something that he didn't like. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Man on first. The pitch. Runner takes off. Swing. Ground ball to short. This could be 2. Bogdan goes to second. Nope. Won't touch the bag. Didn't have time. He'll take the out at first, though. Nice play by Grayson Bogdan, and there's 1 away. So the hit and run keeps the Cougars out of the double play, and there's 1 down with a man on second base for Chase Matheson.
And that's a good play by Bogdan there. Sometimes you'll see shortstops sit there and be like, oh, I have enough time, and they'll try to get the out at second, and they don't get it, and then you have runners on first and second. So there, take the guaranteed out. You get the first out of the inning, and they have a chance to keep that runner from moving down to third here with Matheson at the plate.
Yeah, it was just a chopper up the middle. Bogdan was going to take it himself to second base, but wisely stopped himself and just took the out at first. First pitch to Matheson is a fastball in there for a strike on the inside corner. Matheson comes into the ballgame batting at .232. He's walked 13 times, however, this season. Has an on-base percentage of .327. 1 home run for him. 13 runs batted in for the right fielder. Righty on righty matchup. The pitch. Fastball swung on. Here's a little slow roller to second base. Palmer comes up with it. Throws to first, and a put out for Palmer Page. His first of the season, as he became eligible today. The runner at second, Patterson, advanced to third. So 2 outs now for Gertensen.
This is a good situation for Caden Schmidt. You got 2 outs. You have a chance to have a hitter in Gertensen who's 1 for 7 in the series, struggling. So a good opportunity here to get out of the inning and get your offense up to try to give you some run support.
Yes, after the leadoff walk to Patterson, Schmidt has looked good. That one swung on and hit well to center field. Going back is Perkins. Perkins now will settle under it just to the left of the 408 marker, about 10 feet in front of the track, and make the catch. So Chicago State, no hits, but no runs, a runner left on the bags. We head to the bottom of the first inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Cougars nothing, the Wolverines coming up.
A great morning for baseball here on WolverineGreen.com and, of course, at Brent Brown Ballpark. Plenty of room still available here at the ballpark to make your way down here to Utah Valley University for some great baseball. Let's give you the starting lineup for Eric Madsen and the Utah Valley University Wolverines. Leading off in left field will be Cade Andrus. Mark Kruger will hit in the 2 spot. Grayson Bogdan third. Spencer Gothberg hits cleanup. Andy Perkins will go 5th today. Seth Ryanier starting behind the plate hit 6th. Palmer Page will hit in the 7th spot. Jordan Schlehuber 8th. And Zach Fuller, who's been swinging a hot bat 5 for 7 in this series, will DH today and hit in the 9th spot. Defensively, it's going to be Evan Davis in left. Jared Patterson in center. Chase Matheson moves over from left to right. On the infield, it's going to be Andy Gertensen at third. Matt Sullivan gets the start at shortstop. Over at second, Madeline Romanen, Matt Schmidt at first. Behind home plate, it's Robert Swenson and the left-hander Jake Perkins on the mound for Chicago State.
Perkins throws. First pitch right there on the outside corner to Cade Andrus. Strike 1. Andrus has had a terrific series. He's 4 for 8, has scored 3 runs, a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs. There's a fastball that misses away, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike to the right-handed leadoff man. Andrus getting the start, of course, today in center field, as Ryan mentioned. 1 ball, 1 strike to him here. That one swung on and fouled out of play, a breaking ball there. And it's 1-2. That looked like a changeup from the lefty on the mound, and a good one. Perkins, not terrific velocity, but can change speeds, hit his spots. And in just 3 pitches here, we've seen how good that is. There's a curveball that stays up high at 65 miles an hour, and the count is 2-2.
Jake Perkins on the season, 6 start, 0-2 record, 3.45 ERA in 31 innings. Hitters hitting .256 against him.
2-2 pitch misses away, and the count is full to Cade Andrus. Waiting on deck, Mark Kruger. No score, bottom of the first inning. Chicago State, Utah Valley. Nobody on, nobody out. Fastball misses away, and the leadoff man is on for UVU. So a nice at bat for Cade Andrus, and Mark Kruger will come up with a man on base.
And Kruger last night got walked, 3 times or something, got on base for Utah Valley, and you'll take base runners anytime you can get them. If you're Utah Valley and any baseball team, the more runners you get on base, the more likely you are to push those runners through and get on the board.
So into the stretch, Perkins, the lefty, throws. Breaking ball in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. So this will be an interesting at-bat here. Kruger against the lefty Perkins, lefty on lefty. That ball looked like it started out behind Kruger and then fell in there for a strike. Andrus with a good lead at first. He's being held on. The pitch, curveball stays inside, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. That curveball, I cannot emphasize this enough, 62 miles an hour. That is unbelievably difficult to adjust to after seeing some high velocity fastballs last night. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, and a check swing line drive into the screen near the UVU dugout, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was a fastball, and Kruger looked, it was almost an emergency swing there, and the count's 1-2.
Well, that fastball comes in at 81 miles an hour, but even going from 81 to 62 is going to change that ball speed as a hitter. It's going to be tough to catch up to.
Curveball misses up high, and the count's 2-2 to Kruger. Mark hitting .319 on the season, .451 on base percentage, .479 slugging percentage, 2 homers, and 17 RBIs. Andrus at first base. He's stolen 5 bags this season. There's a fastball that misses up and in, and the count is full. Waiting on deck is Bogdan.
So back-to-back hitters tonight, or this afternoon, has Perkins gone to, and that's going to be something. Run that pitch count up. It's a day Chicago State really wants to try to win one here, try to keep that pitch count down.
Runner takes off, payoff pitches fouled into the seats behind the UVU dugout. Just getting a piece of it was Kruger. Again, one of those emergency swings. I think he was waiting for a curveball. And it's interesting because the fastball there only is in the low 80s, but way behind it is Kruger. After seeing curveballs in the low 60s. That one swung on, chopper down the right field line, over the first baseman Schmidt's head. That'll be a base hit. Heading first to third is Andrus. He'll get in there safely. The ball will be cut off by the shortstop Sullivan. In there with a single is Mark Kruger, and there are runners on the corners here in the first for Utah Valley.
And this is starting to kind of look a lot like Thursday night for Utah Valley. You know, they came to the ballpark ready to play, and that's something here. They want that sweep. They want that momentum heading into this next week.
Nice job by Kruger. Not a terrifically hard hit ball, but he got a nice hop. It was just a chopper over Matt Schmidt's head at first base. So when things are going good, things are going good. Kruger hitting .750 in this series. Well, more than that now. He is now 4-4. Now the runner takes off for home and throw to the first base. The ball gets away. He's safe. Now Kruger will head to second base. He's in there safely. It's 1-0 Utah Valley. Perkins threw over to first base, and Cade Andrus broke for home and made it safely. I think he may have been out because the home plate umpire, Kellen Levy, was waiting to make the call, and then the ball squirted free, and that's when he called him safe. So 1-0 UVU. An interesting, wow.
That's an interesting thing you saw Thursday night with Swenson behind home plate. Utah Valley took their chances on him, and they ran had a similar play on in that one as well, and it worked there as well.
So here's Bogdan with a runner on second, nobody out. Now he bunts down the third base line, and it's a beauty. Coming in to field it is the pitcher. He'll throw to first, not even close. Bogdan beats it out, The throw was in the grass. A nice job by Matt Schmidt at first to dig it out. A long hop. But Grayson Bogdan is in there with a base hit. That play, I think some bad communication between Perkins and Gertensen at third base. That's Gertensen's ball on that bunt. He would have had a play on it. I don't think he would have gotten Bogdan, but a much tougher play for Perkins, the lefty, who's going to had to throw across his body on that third base side. So Bogdan in there, and here comes Spencer Gothberg. Still nobody out, 2 men on for the Wolverines. They lead 1-0 here in the first inning.
Right there, you've seen, and it wouldn't surprise me here if Grayson Bogdan gets the sign to steal. They seem to have something on Robert Swenson behind home plate that feels that they have an opportunity to steal some bases.
Kruger at third, Bogdan at first. Now a fake throw over to first base. Diving back though was Bogdan. Gothberg at the plate, right-handed hitter, hitting .265 this season. 308 with runners in scoring position. The pitch, fastball, misses low and away, and it's 1-0.
And a quick visit, looks like, coming to the mound here. And Jordan, it's hard when you have a game when you lose 16-3, and then you play well in those first couple innings. We talked about it in the post game last night. You play well for the first 2 or 3 innings, and then Utah Valley just comes back and beats you by 1. The morale right now in the Chicago State understanding, they don't want this one to get away from them. But at the same time, how do you keep that understanding of coming back to the ballpark today and being like, all right, let's get ready to play, with that feeling of what do we have to do to win one? What do we have to do to get something on our side? I thought about it last night. I thought about it this morning on the drive in, and I'm just not sure if you're Chicago State how to mentally approach this game without just being like, well, today's a brand new day. And it's going to sound kind of cliche, but you kind of have to have that thought of it's a brand new day and everything's new. And right now, this is really reminding me of the game on Thursday night, the start here for Utah Valley in the first.
Yeah, and if you're Utah Valley, right now, you want to put it on, pour it on, and get up big early. That one swung on and fouled off to the right side. It's 1 ball, 1 strike to Gothberg. But yeah, you want to put more than 1 run on the board here and really put Chicago State in a hole to where you can take advantage of that.
And for Caden Schmidt, too, you have a freshman on the mound who has, a 7-point ERA. How much confidence does that give him going back out there in the second? It gives him a lot of confidence going out there with 2 or 3 runs on the board.
The 1-1 pitch on the way. Here's a line drive right to second base. Nice play by Roman, and it was a sinking line drive right at him. Gothberg hit the ball hard, but the first out in the inning, and here's Andy Perkins. So Perkins will come up with 2 men on and a man out. Perkins got the base hit last night in the bottom of the 9th with the winning run. Atkinson on second base. He'll step up here. The left-handed hitter. Now stepping off the rubber and looking the runners back is Perkins. So Perkins facing Perkins. Bogdan held on at first base. The pitch, fastball, strike 1, a beauty on the outside corner, and it's 0-1. Bogdan at first, Kruger at third. 1-0 Wolverines in the bottom of the first inning. 1 out for Andy Perkins. Jake Perkins, the lefty on the mound. From the stretch, comes set, chest high, checks the runners. Pitch, that one a line drive, or I should say back to the screen. Foul ball, line drive back to the screen. And it's 0-2. It is very, I know we've talked about this, but it's so interesting to me that fastball at 81 and these Wolverines so behind it after seeing the breaking stuff, the junk from Jake Perkins.
And sometimes you think of it, you want to have a good fastball changeup, but sometimes that pitcher who comes in with that, what was called junk stuff.
0-2, line drive to the second baseman. He has it, throws to first. Bogdan back in, though, safely. And so 2 line drives, 2 hard hit balls, but right at Mattingly Romanin at second base, and they're 2 away for Seth Rainier.
Sometimes the junk stuff, the harder stuff to hit because you're not used to seeing that 62-mile-an-hour breaking pitch. Sometimes it can change kind of the speed of the game. But I think if you're the Wolverines, you'll take the 2 outs you got in the inning on hard hit balls. They're not like they're were bad at bats. They were good at bats and just hit right at people.
Yeah, Jake Perkins, the lefty, catching a couple breaks there. Here's a curveball. Speaking of breaks, a nice one there. 0-1 to Rainier. Rainier, a 222 average this season. No home runs, 9 runs batted in. Kruger waiting at third base, Bogdan at first. The pitch, curveball misses outside. Bluffing a bunt was Rainier there with 2 outs in the inning, and the count is 1-1 strike. And now we'll update you. I believe that hit by Bogdan, the bunt, I believe they gave him an error on that play. The pitch, fastball misses away, and it's 2-1. We're in the process of verifying that. 2 balls, 1 strike the count to Rainier. Fastball misses high and away, and it's 3-1. Waiting on deck, should Rainier reach, it would be Palmer Page. A good hitter's count here. Rainier will be sitting dead red. 2 men on, 2 men out. Bottom of the first inning, 1 run in already for the Wolverines. They lead it 1-0. That one swung on and hit high into right field. It's carrying. Going back, though, is Matheson, now settling under it, just onto the edge of the warning track. He'll make the grab. So the Wolverines leave 2 men stranded. They get a couple of base hits and a run. But overall, Chicago State and Jake Perkins get out of a big jam. So we head to the top of the second inning. The Wolverines lead it 1-0. The Wolverines lead the Chicago State Cougars 1-0. Here as we head to the top of the second inning, it'll be Matt Schmidt, Robert Swenson, and Cody Friend, 5, 6, 7 for Chicago State. Back out on the mound, Caden Schmidt for the Wolverines. So Schmidt versus Schmidt. That one swung on and fouled away, and it's 0-1. So we had Perkins versus Perkins back in the top of the first inning, and they both spelled their name the same way. Schmidt versus Schmidt here. A interesting note, Ryan. Caden Schmidt, Utah Valley's right-hander, spells his name with a M-I-T-T. Matt Schmidt at the plate, M-I-D-T. You don't get those kind of facts just anywhere. Only on WolverineGreen.com. Here's a foul chopper back towards the on-deck circle, and it's quickly 0-2 to Schmidt. So the Wolverines got 1 run in the first. However, they missed, or rather squandered a big opportunity. They left 2 men on base they had nobody out, and it could have been a big inning. 0-2 pitch swung on and lifted foul off to the left. At the same time, the Wolverines did hit 2 very hard line drives, but right at the second baseman, so tough break for UVU. 0-2 the count to Schmidt. Nobody on, nobody out. 1-0 UVU. Top of the second. Fastball swung on and lifted into shallow left field. Going back is Bogdan. Coming in is Andrus. He will make the grab as that ball hung up there for him. I said Andrus. Andy Perkins getting the start in left today. One away here in the second inning.
Just one of those pitches came on the inside corner, and Matt Schmidt tried to do everything he could. Just got it on the inside barrel and just kind of popped it up.
Yeah, jammed there by Schmidt. So here's the right-handed hitting Robert Swenson. Got the start in game 1 of this series. Did not play yesterday, or last night rather. First pitch fastball misses in at 88 miles an hour, and it's 1-0. So comparing and contrasting the two starters today, they could not be more different. Caden Schmidt, a high-velocity guy. There's a line drive foul down the left field line. It's 1-1 strike. Perkins, however, for Chicago State, his fastball's in the low 80s and will throw the slow curve in the low 60s.
A contrast of styles, which will be good to be interesting to see how both those teams handle it, because Chicago State's seen a lot more higher velocity pitchers than Utah Valley has in this series.
Swenson, no batting gloves, hitting from the right side, bent at the knees. The 1-1 pitch to him. Fastball swung on, popped up. This one's in foul territory. Giving chase is Gothberg. Over at first, giving chase is the catcher right near, but that gets out of play onto the screen. And the count's 1-2. Even Caden Schmidt, the starter on the mound for the Wolverines, gave a nice effort and ran into foul territory for that one. I think if you're Coach Madsen or Dave Carter, you tell Caden Schmidt, hey, don't worry about that one. Let Rainier or let Gothberg handle it at first or at catcher. The 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. Whoa, fastball missed somewhere. Maybe a little low and away, and it's 2-2. Looked pretty good from up here. Kellen Levy, your home plate umpire today. Frank Flugrat at first base and Mike Whitty at first. 2-2 pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. He got him. First strikeout of the afternoon for Caden Schmidt. There's one away in the two away in the second inning.
There's that fastball, just kind of throws it right past Swenson, and Swenson, not a bad pitch. I mean, close to the strike zone, just gets Swenson to swing through it.
Here's Cody Friend, the designated hitter. Friend hitting from the left side. From the windup, Schmidt delivers. Fastball swung on and foul tipped into the glove of Rainier. Strike one. Everybody straight away for the Wolverines. The outfield playing fairly deep. No wind to speak of right now. Just maybe a little breeze in center field. The flag just gently blowing out towards right as the wind now begins to pick up a little more. Ball misses away. It's 1-1. The corner's guarding the lines as the fastball is fouled back and out of play, and it's 1-2 strikes. So here will be Caden Schmidt trying to finish this easy second inning after he allowed a base runner and stranded him in the first inning. He has looked sharp here in the second. Friend waits. The windup and the pitch. Fastball swung on and chopped to first base. Gothberg will wait on the hop, has it, takes it to first, and the inning is over. Nice play by Spencer Gothberg to wait on that in-between hop, and he stabbed it, made the play. So we head to the bottom half of the second inning. No hits, nobody left, no runs for the Cougars. It's 1-0 Wolverines. You're listening to Utah Valley Baseball on WolverineGreen.com. Palmer Page to lead things off here in the in the bottom of the second inning. It's Palmer Page's first at bat of the season. Just became eligible today. Curveball in there for a strike from Jake Perkins, and it's 0-1 to Page. That one swung on, fouled back to the screen, and it's quickly 0-2 to the UVU second baseman. Working quickly on the mound is Perkins. Palmer Page, the 5'11", 200-pound senior, swing and a miss, strikes out here. And there's one away in the second. Page, the senior, out of Saratoga Springs, Utah, went to Lehigh High School, a transfer from Salt Lake Community College. So one away, first strikeout of the afternoon for Jake Perkins, and here is Jordan Schlehuber. First pitch breaking ball, in there for a strike. I said breaking ball, that's a fastball there. Poured it in. 1-0, the Wolverines lead, bottom of the second inning. Nobody on, one man out. The pitch. Fastball in the outside corner, strike 2. That one was perfectly placed by Jake Perkins. Zach Fuller waits on deck. The 0-1, or rather 0-2, misses up high, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I'm blaming that again on the scoreboard, Ryan. What is happening over there in the booth to our right? Our right. 1-2 pitch. Swung on, chopper to short, waiting on the candy hop is Sullivan. He has it, throws to first, and Schlehuber is retired. The throw was not a great one. Having to stretch down the first base line was Schmidt, but he made the play. Quickly 2 away in the second, and here's the 9-man, Zach Fuller.
Right now, Fuller coming in 5 for 7 in the series. He's just had one of those series where I feel like the ball is just huge to him up there, and it's good to see Zach Fuller having that kind of a series.
The pitch to the right-handed designated hitter is a fastball in the outside corner, strike 1. A few more fans filing in here in the bottom of the second. Beautiful afternoon here in Orem. Say afternoon as a ball misses up high. It's a little more than half past 11 a.m. 1 ball, 1 strike the count.
I'll let you round up, Jordan.
I appreciate it. Fastball misses up high. 2-1 now to Fuller. This game was originally scheduled for noon, but was set back to 11 a.m. because Chicago State has to catch a flight out of here. 2-1, fastball misses away, and it's 3 balls, 1 strike to Fuller. Nobody on base. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Wolverines. Usually we, of course, play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. 3-1 pitch to Fuller is a fastball taken on the outside corner for a strike, full count. But this weekend, it's Easter weekend, so the WAC has all their series, I should say, going Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Here's a little blooper into right field, a base hit off the bat of Zach Fuller. And he is red hot right now. So he reaches base with 2 outs, and here comes the leadoff man, Cade Andrus.
Again, I mean, a good swing by Fuller there. Not maybe the hardest hit ball, but great contact made, and hits it just softly enough where it falls in front of Matheson. He hits that ball a little harder. That just stays up there for Matheson to make the play.
And that's the way it goes when you're hot like Fuller is right now. Here's the pitch to Andrus. Curveball, big, slow curve falling in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Andrus walked to begin the ball game. He then scored when he stole home. Perkins, the lefty on the mound, made a move to first, and Andrus took off and slid home safely. The pitch, curveball swung on and missed. Now a foul tip, says Kellen Levy. 0-2, the count to Andrus. Fuller, good speed at first base, held on over there by Matt Schmidt. Everybody straight away for Chicago State. 0-2 pitch, and Andrus lines that one foul off to the right side. Count remains at 0-2. It's interesting, Andrus with great power. Playing shallow in center field, though, is Jared Patterson. Playing not shallow, but middle deep in left is Davis, as is Matheson in right. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Man on, 2 men out. Runner takes off. Pitch misses high and away, and Fuller's easily into second. No throw down, as the catcher Robert Swenson couldn't quite grab the baseball. Could not get a grip on it.
And Robert Swenson did that a couple of times on Thursday night. I know I mentioned it, where he had the ball in his glove and he just couldn't grip it or just couldn't get a good feel on it, so he wouldn't even try to throw down.
So now a runner in scoring position for the Wolverines. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Good sized lead at second for Fuller. The pitch, Andrus swings and misses at a high curveball, and the inning is over. So the Wolverines get a hit, but they leave him stranded. No runs in the second. We head to the top of the third, 1-0, Wolverines. Jordan Bianucci alongside Ryan Pickens. You're listening to Utah Valley Baseball on WolverineGreen.com. Utah Valley leads Chicago State 1-0 as we head to the top of the third inning. Caden Schmidt, the right-hander, back out on the mound for UVU. He will face Evan Davis, Matt Sullivan, and Jared Patterson, 8-9, and then back to the top of the order. And to tell you all about it, here's Ryan Pickens.
Thank you, Jordan. As Evan Davis stands in, the first pitch he shows bunt, pulls it back for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes the count. Davis 0 for 2 in Thursday night's ball game, had yesterday off. 1 ball and no strikes the count. The kick and the delivery comes, and that one in there at about the knees, inside corner, evens the count at 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. As Jordan said, it'll be Evan Davis, Matt Sullivan, Jared Patterson, 8-9 and 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Caden Schmidt looking in, gets the sign, and kicks and delivers home, and that one's high for a ball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. 1-0 Utah Valley in the top of the third inning. Thank you for tuning in on WolverineGreen.com for this final game of a 3-game series with Chicago State. That one swung on and fouled away by Davis. That will go down onto the berm. Some people down there on the picnic tables that sit down the third base concourse here at Brent Brown Ballpark. So some kids playing out on the berm on this Saturday morning game here from Orem, Utah. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Evan Davis, and Caden Schmidt kicks and delivers the 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. The second strikeout of the game for Caden Schmidt as he paints that one right on the inside corner. And there's 1 out here in the third to bring up Matt Sullivan. Sullivan was another player who started in Thursday night's game and went 1 for 3 and then had yesterday off for Chicago State. He'll stand in hitting from the right side. Caden Schmidt, the right-hander, kicks and delivers, and that one swung on. First pitch popped up high into the afternoon sky. Cade Andrus is there in dead center field, and he makes the catch, and there's 2 away. So Caden Schmidt keeping his pitch count down. He's had a couple of relatively quick innings. His pitch count now is just up over 32 pitches. So that will be very kind for Utah Valley, who plays a midweek game Tuesday night over in Provo against BYU before Sacramento State comes to town next weekend for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. So here's Jared Patterson, the center fielder, and the first pitch is swung on and fouled back to the backstop, and it's no balls and a strike. Patterson led the game off with a walk. He's now got 5 walks in this series. Doesn't have a hit. He's 0 for 5, but he's been on base with the 5 walks. Patterson stands in with a pretty even stance in the batter's box, outfield and infield, playing straight away for Utah Valley. The 0-1 pitch just goes off the plate and evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Utah Valley wearing the alternate black tops that say Wolverines across the chest. As Caden Schmidt kicks and deals the 1-1 pitch, comes inside, just turning out of the way was Patterson. It's 2 balls and a strike. Chicago State wearing kind of like a green, I want to say like a camouflage look, but they have like a dark green on the numbers. So it's kind of a green camouflage with dark green numbers. Interesting look, and the 2-1 pitch from Schmidt comes home, and that one paints the outside corner with the fastball at 86 miles an hour and evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Schmidt ready to go once again, gets the sign from Seth Reinier behind home plate, and will begin his windup and delivers the 2-2 pitch, and that one's going to be fouled away, and we'll do another 2-2 pitch here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Utah Valley at 5-3 in Western Athletic Conference play. With a win today, gets to 6-3. Currently tied with Northern Colorado. Utah Valley will make a trip here in a couple of weeks over to Greeley to take on the Bears. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The kick and the delivery comes in. Swung on and fly ball hit out to right. Kruger's going to have to go back onto the warning track, and that ball's going to go off the base of the wall. Taking a turn and heading to second is Patterson, and he's there with a 2-out stand-up double. And Chicago State gets a runner in scoring position as that one was hit pretty well and just went off the wall as Mark Kruger was playing more towards right center field, and that one went pretty close down the line. So Patterson with his first hit in the series, and now with 2 outs, Mattingly Romanen's going to come to the plate. Romanen 0 for 1 on the day, grounded out to Grayson Bogdan back in the first. Caden Schmidt will now work from the stretch here. Schlehuber going to play over closer towards the base, over the third base bag to make sure that Patterson has to stay close. Schmidt's going to turn, throw back to second. Page picks it out of the dirt, but not in time to apply the tag. So Patterson back safely. Wax schedule today, final games all going throughout. Bakersfield leads North Dakota 1-0 in the 7th. That one taking place in North Dakota. The Roadrunners looking for the sweep. The first pitch comes, and that stays high for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes now to Mattingly Romanen. Outfield straight away, infield playing at normal depth. Bogdan playing a step or 2 back on the outfield grass, so the infield must be playing fast again, where Bogdan feels the need to have a little more reaction time. 1 ball and no strikes the count. The kick and the delivery comes. That one swung on, popped up. Gothberg going to give it a look, but it's going to get about 7 rows back down the first base concourse, and it evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. There's a net that goes just off the first base dugout here at Brent Brown Ballpark, goes all the way around the stadium over to the start of the third base dugout, and that ball just happened to get in that area where there was no net. 1 ball and 1 strike the count here. 2 away in the top of the third. 1-0 Utah Valley. Caden Schmidt delivers home, and that's going to stay high for a ball, and it's 2 balls and a strike. To Mattingly Romanen. Romanen, a senior from Burlington, Ontario. Even stance in the box, waving the bat around, getting ready as Schmidt's now set on the mound, ready to go. The 2-1 pitch coming home. That one swung on and hit well out to right. Kruger's going to have to go back on the warning track. He's going to find it, and he makes the catch, and the inning comes to an end. I had to wait to see the umpire hold up the outside, but Kruger able to find it, keeps the run off the board. We head to the bottom of the third here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Utah Valley 1, Chicago State 0. This is Utah Valley University Baseball on WolverineGreen.com. Bottom half of the third inning, Utah Valley coming up. Mark Kruger, who made the final out of the top of the third, stands in to lead off the bottom and takes a fastball low for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Mark Kruger, Grayson Bogdan, Spencer Gothberg, 3, 4, and 5 coming up, or 2, 3, and 4 coming up for Utah Valley. And Kruger's going to swing and put that one off into right center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. And Mark Kruger's on to open up the third inning. And Utah Valley has their third hit of the afternoon, the second going to Mark Kruger. So the hot hitting bat for Mark Kruger continues. And now that brings up Grayson Bogdan, who's having a very good series himself, 6 for 10 with 2 RBIs as he'll stand in from the right side. And really, when you put up 16 runs in the first game, you have to kind of make the argument, and then you score 7 runs the next. You have to kind of make the argument who in your starting lineup isn't having a good series. And the first pitch from Jake Perkins misses low. The snap throw down to first, and sliding back underneath the tag is Kruger as Swenson there quickly fired down. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Jake Perkins, the left-hander, working from the stretch. Gertensen at third, playing about a step or two back, or just maybe a step onto the infield dirt. 1-0 pitch, and Perkins will throw over to get Kruger back. Kruger, initially we thought stole the base, but they did change it to an error against Swenson for Kruger getting to second back in the first. There's a ground ball that goes off the glove of Sullivan into left field. Going down to third is Mark Kruger, and the Wolverines have runners on the corners here with nobody out for Spencer Gothberg. I would imagine that would have to go as an error against, and it will go down as an error against Sullivan, as that was a pretty routine ground ball. And so it should have been probably a double play ball if everything goes right. So runners on the corners here for Spencer Gothberg. Gothberg 0 for 1, hit a hard ball, had a good at bat, worked the count, and then just hit a line drive right at Romanin back in the first. Stands in here, similar situation with runners in the corners, and he's going to show bunt. Runner goes. Bogdan's going to slide in there underneath the tag, and Grayson Bogdan steals second base. And so now there's runners on at second and third with nobody out with Spencer Gothberg at the plate.
That error at shortstop really kills you if you're Chicago State. That was a routine ground ball, a hard hit ball, but routine and an easy double play. Sullivan booted it, and that, if you're Jake Perkins on the mound, now you really got to focus and come back in because the bases should be empty with 2 outs.
Gothberg swings, hits that one pretty well out to right field. Is it going to stay fair? And it is going to go foul. He evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. It had the distance, went off onto Wolverine way, but just went on the wrong side of the foul pole there. So it evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike for Gothberg, who does have 3 RBIs in the series.
When you're a young pitcher, they talk about this in the big leagues all the time. So in college, it's even tougher as these are, just young kids out here to mentally get past that error if you're Perkins on the mound.
The 1-1 pitch, and there's the fastball. It stays high at 81 miles an hour, 2 balls and a strike. First base is open, but I don't think you want to load the bases for Andy Perkins if you're Chicago State. I don't think you want to load the bases for anybody if you're Chicago State. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jake Perkins checks Bogdan at second. Bogdan will take another step. The delivery comes. Gothberg grounds that one up the middle. Romanin's going to field it cleanly. Gets the out at first, but coming in to score is Mark Kruger. And Utah Valley takes the 2-0 lead here in the third as Grayson Bogdan able to move down to third. So even though there's a ground out, credit Spencer Gothberg with his 4th RBI in the series. And with 1 away, Andy Perkins will come to the plate. And some people said, well, Gothberg doesn't get the hit, but he gets the run home. And in that situation, that's just what you want to do. Find the way to bring the run home. So Andy Perkins 0 for 1. He had a lined out to Romanin himself back in the first. And the breaking ball comes up over Perkins' head. He had to duck, and Swenson quickly able to make the play as that gets past him. Bogdan probably scores from third. 1 ball and no strikes. The left-handed hitting Andy Perkins. Jake Perkins on the mound. Gets the sign from Swenson, delivers the 1-0 pitch, and that hits the outside corner at 79 miles an hour with the fastball, and it's 1-1. Jake Perkins not really overpowering, so he's going to have to make sure he hits his spots, and he's going to have to hit them well. Bogdan acts like he's going to try to steal home, then stops and takes a step back. Perkins grounds it past the diving third baseman Gertensen into left field. So Bogdan will slowly just kind of jog home, and Andy Perkins has an RBI single here in the third and gives Utah Valley a 3-0 lead on Jake Perkins and the Chicago State Cougars. Not the hardest hit ball, but just hit in the right spot where Gertensen just couldn't make the play. And with one out, Seth Rainier comes to the plate. And we're going to have a visit out to the mound here by Chicago State. We're not sure. Perkins hasn't pitched bad. He just has gotten in a little bit of trouble. And you got to credit Utah Valley. Timely hitting by the Wolverines. They've found a way to bring those runners home when they've had those opportunities.
No, and it goes back to the start of this inning the beginning of this inning when Bogdan with Kruger on first grounded into what was going to be a sure double play, and Matt Sullivan couldn't handle it at shortstop, and that has come back to, of course, haunt Chicago State big time. But credit UVU with taking advantage of the air as well.
It's something, Jordan, you and I talked about in that St. Mary's series, how Utah Valley had opportunities and didn't take advantage of it, and now they're doing just the opposite, which is good to see. And you would have liked to have won a couple of games in that St. Mary's series. You did win one, but an opportunity, though, now in WAC play when these games really matter, when you're playing for that opportunity to play in the WAC tournament. Seth Rainier stands in. The first pitch is low for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Not every team will make the WAC tournament, only the top 6, and the winner of the WAC tournament gets an automatic bid to an NCAA regional. Something that Coach Eric Madsen has said has been the goal of this program is to make a regional. 1-0 pitch. Jake Perkins delivers. Rainier swings, hits that one to center. Well, Patterson's going back, still going back. He's not going to get there, and it's going to roll to the wall. Being waved around third is Andy Perkins. The throw is going to be cut off by second. The relay, as Rainier slides, it gets past him. Rainier is going to have to hold at third as quickly 2 Cougars get there, and Utah Valley has now taken a 4-0 lead on the RBI triple by Seth Rainier. So Rainier, having a slow series, gets his second hit, and here it goes for a triple and helps extend this lead to 4-0 for Palmer Page, the second baseman. And once again, it happened a couple times, and now Patterson has taken another step or two back in center field. He's been playing shallow this entire series, and when Utah Valley has put him out there, he hasn't been able to get him. And majority of the time, it leads to UVU scoring runs. So now, once again, with one out, you don't need a hit to score. As Palmer Page steps in, the first pitch, a breaking ball, stays above the belt for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. So Patterson, this final game of the series, just kind of taking a couple of steps back. 1 out. Jake Perkins kicks and delivers home. That one swung on and missed. There was that breaking ball at 63 miles an hour, and Page was well out in front. 1 ball and 1 strike to count, 1 away. Andy Perkins, the runner, over at third. Cooper Fouts in the third base coaching box for Utah Valley, giving him some direction. The 1-1 pitch swung on, fly ball hit to center field. Having to come in now is Patterson. He's going to make the play. Tagging at third is Andy Perkins. Here comes the throw. In on a hop, but Perkins is going to slide in. That's Seth Rainier sliding in underneath the tag. And it's going to be 5-0 Utah Valley here in the third. Utah Valley kind of opening this one up on the sacrifice fly.
Yeah, that was not a no-stress sacrifice fly there. Rainier with great speed came home hustling, and a pretty good, it looked like to be a pretty good throw from the center fielder Patterson, but it ended up being high. But that's you being aggressive right now.
They seem to be responding well in the series to playing aggressively, and that pitch comes low for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes.
And that's, of course, Palmer Page's first RBI on the season, as today is his first ball game.
1 ball and no strikes the count to Jordan Schlehuber. The 1-0 pitch comes. Schlehuber swings, lines that one. Leaping and making the play is Matt Sullivan. He had to go up and come down and makes a spectacular play to retire the side. At the end of 3 here from Brent Brown Ballpark, the Wolverines tack on 4. It's 5-0 Utah Valley at the end of 3 from Brent Brown Ballpark. Top of the 4th inning here on WolverineGreen.com and at Brent Brown Ballpark. Caden Schmidt and Utah Valley in control right now, leading 5-0. Caden Schmidt's only allowed the 1 hit. That was the double to Jared Patterson back in the 3rd. He'll face 3, 4, and 5 Chase Matheson to stand in and lead it off, and the delivery comes home. And Matheson swings lines that one pretty hard to left. Perkins going back, tries to make the play, goes off his glove and rolls to the wall. Matheson's going to go up into second base with a double as a tough play out there for Perkins, and Matheson's on at second base for Andy Gertensen. That ball was hit hard off the bat and just kind of lined out there to kind of see as Perkins had to kind of make the leap, and they will credit Matheson there with a hit. So a leadoff double for Chase Matheson brings Andy Gertensen to the plate here. Nobody out and a runner on at second base. 5-0 Utah Valley. Gertensen 0 for 1, flew out to center back in the 1st. Schmidt delivers as Gertensen takes a big cut and came up empty, no balls and a strike. Gertensen wearing number 7. A little bit of an even stance in the batter's box. Caden Schmidt working from the stretch, the far kind of left side of the pitcher's rubber. The 0-1 pitch. That one's in at the knees for a called strike at 88 miles an hour, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. A good outing so far for Caden Schmidt, and that's got to feel good heading into really the majority of your league play. No balls and 2 strikes. Schmidt with the glove on his knee gets the sign, sets, and delivers the 0-2 pitch, and that one just misses away. Well, actually, it missed by a good portion, but it's low for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 88 miles an hour, that last pitch. So Schmidt throwing in that upper 80s. Don't think I've seen him touch 90 yet today, but pitching somewhere between 87 and 89. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the count. The kick and the delivery home from Schmidt. That one blocked in the dirt. A good block by Seth Reinier, and evens the count at 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gertensen in the bottom of the inning tried to make the diving attempt on a ball, but it got past him. Would like to redeem himself here with a hit. Hitting .289 on the season in that cleanup spot for Chicago State. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Schmidt kicks and delivers home. Breaking ball, stays high, ball 3. And the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. So 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. Caden Schmidt coming set here. The 3-2 pitch. And the delivery comes home. 3-2 pitch misses. Ball 4. And Gertensen's on with a walk. So runners on at first and second now. Seth Reinier coming out. Jordan Schlehuber going to come over from third. And Dave Carter's going to come out and have a quick visit.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to, UVU that is, get somebody up down in the bullpen. just to get loose. That is Braden Poole heading down there to get loose for the Wolverines. Caden Schmidt has pitched well today, very well. This inning gave up the double, of course, to lead off the inning, and right there couldn't quite finish Gertensen off with the count full. So Chicago State threatening here in the fourth inning. And we've seen it. This is it's interesting, right? Chicago State has really dwelt in the cellar for so long now, and even when we were in the Great West Conference and now in the WAC, they've had trouble and have never been able to win a lot of games, frankly. And this is a different team. They look a lot better.
Matt Schmidt takes the first pitch, high for ball one.
Sorry, Ryan. They look much better than they have in the past, and it's things like this right now, getting things going, responding to adversity.
1 ball and no strikes the count. Infield up the middle, playing close to double play depth as Bogdan moves back to his normal positioning and swings and misses. Does Matt Schmidt, evens the count at 1-1. And you talk about with a lot of programs that are struggling, it's not necessarily about, okay, understanding we're going to win right now. It's understanding we got to build a program and trying to kind of change a culture and an idea of baseball. And, I mean, Steve Jocelyn seems to be doing a better job. Still not done to the point where they're going to compete in the WAC, as that one misses low and inside for ball 2. Maybe that's an unfair assumption on my part.
Yeah, I think they're most definitely competing. They've competed in this series, but I know what you mean to say, competing for maybe a conference championship, something like that.
2 balls and 1 strike to count. Matt Schmidt from that left side of the batter's box. 2-1 pitch swung on, fouled straight back. Chicago State goes home. They'll play a midweek game against, I believe that's the University of Illinois Chicago, the Flames, on Tuesday, and then they'll head to Grand Forks to take on North Dakota next weekend. So an opportunity for Chicago State to build some momentum heading into those next couple of games. North Dakota having a pretty good year this year as well. They're playing better baseball. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Schmidt checks the runner at second, delivers home the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Caden Schmidt gets the big strikeout when he needs it, and that is the third of the afternoon for Caden Schmidt.
Huge strikeout there to get the first out of the inning with runners on first and second, so now the double play is in order.
And Robert Swenson's going to come to the plate. Swenson was the first strikeout victim back in the second inning. But now if you're Caden Schmidt, you're a ground ball away here from being out of the inning on the double play. We'll quickly check some of the WAC scores for you. Only one other game in action. Bakersfield 3, North Dakota 0. Some of those other games will be taking place here as we go throughout the afternoon. And that pitch, first pitch to Swenson, misses high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Those other games are Northern Colorado's down in Las Cruces taking on New Mexico State. Sacramento State and Seattle finishing up their 3-game series. Sacramento State looking to avoid the sweep. And then University of Texas Pan American is at Grand Canyon. So the 1-0 pitch, and that one misses low, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Swenson. So a full day of WAC baseball going on throughout the conference. 2 balls and no strikes to Swenson, the right-handed hitting catcher. Runners get their lead. Matheson at second, Gertensen at first. The 2-0 pitch, and that one in there for a called strike, 2-1. I tried, Jordan, an inning ago to explain the Chicago State uniforms. I came up with green with camouflage. That's the best way I could describe them, with like dark green numbers. 2 balls and a strike. The kick and the delivery comes. Swung out, popped high up. Rainier's going to give it a look behind home plate, throws off the catcher's mask, and drops the ball. And you can tell he just kind of put his hand up kind of like, okay. Like, I don't think he expected. That's going to go down as an error against Seth Rainier. That is the one situation where a foul ball can be ruled an error, in a situation where you're under it and you just absolutely drop it. So an error there against Seth Rainier.
And we talked about how big that error was back in the top half, or rather the bottom half of the third inning when Matt Sullivan at shortstop booted a ground ball and UVU took advantage and scored 4 runs that inning. We'll see here if Chicago State can take advantage of that error by Seth Rainier.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Caden Schmidt working from the far side of the mound, delivers. That one swung on, popped up. This one in play. Coming out to right, Mark Kruger coming in. Runner looks to tag. He'll hold as Kruger's throw. I don't know where Kruger was throwing that, but it rolls into Seth Rainier. He threw home, and I think even Seth Rainier at home plate just kind of stood, just was on the ground holding the baseball for a second, just kind of looking around. I don't know if Kruger thought the runner was at third, but nonetheless, a good throw in. I mean, it was in on a hop into Rainier, but I guess the important thing there is there's 2 outs here in the 4th inning, and Cody Friend's going to come to the plate. Runners sitting on at first and second with 2 outs. Friend 0 for 1, grounded out to Seth Gothberg in his only plate appearance of the day. Caden Schmidt on the mound after giving up the double to Matheson and a walk to Gertenson's, come back to get the last 2 outs. Schmidt kicks and delivers home, and that one misses inside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes on Friend. Friend has been behind the plate, was also the DH, and then started the other night as well at DH. So start behind the plate and 2 at DH, 1 behind the plate, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike on Cody Friend as that one misses inside. Chicago State 0 for 5 today with runners in scoring position, 0 for 6 with runners on base. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Runners get their leads. Utah Valley playing Friend to pull. That one's fouled right back to the screen. 2 balls and a strike. Gothberg hugging that line down the right field line. Page playing a little bit more over in the hole at the second base bag. Bogdan playing pretty much behind the runner at second. Matheson gets his lead. Friend not being held on. Gets his lead at first. 2 balls and a strike. The kick and the delivery comes home. That one misses low, ball 3, and the count goes to 3 balls and a strike on Cody Friend. So a good hitter's count here. Chicago State's been willing to run in every count, but pretty much any count throughout the series, but I wouldn't think that they're going to run 3-1. Good fastball count here for the Chicago State designated hitter. Checks the runner, delivers the 3-1 pitch, and that's in there just above the knees for a called strike. 3-2. A good pitch there because if Friend swings, it's low, so a good chance a ground ball has occurred. But also if he takes, a very good chance that it was a strike, and it was in that case. Makes the count 3-2. Runners will probably be on the move here with a 3-2 count and 2 away in the top of the 4th. 5-0 Utah Valley. Schmidt gets the sign from Seth Rainier. Takes a quick look at Matheson. Time called here, it looks like, by Friend, and he'll collect his thoughts and step back in the batter's box.
Big moment in this ball game. Chicago State looking to get back into it, down 5 runs. UVU looking to get out of the jam.
3-2 runners go. That was going to be away, ball 4. And the bases are now full of Cougars, and Evan Davis going to come to the plate. That one didn't miss by much. From my vantage point up here in the press box, it didn't miss by much, and we're going to have a pinch hitter. I wonder here if they might go to Gonsolin.
I tell you who it
and
was,
it
Ryan.
is. They're going to go to Jordan Stroshine, number 23. I don't know where I got Gonsolin from, but so Stroshine going to come in and pinch hit, number 22 or 23.
I would have gotten that earlier, but their numbers are in camouflage.
So Stroshine up here with the bases loaded and 2 down, looking for a clutch hit. And the first pitch, he swings from Schmidt, and that's popped up on the infield. Gothberg going to come over. He's going to make the play, and Chicago State will strand the bases loaded. So we head to the bottom of the fourth at Brent Brown Ballpark. The Cougars a golden opportunity to chip back in it, but they strand the bases loaded at Utah Valley 5 and Chicago State 0. You're watching college baseball here on WolverineGreen.com. Bottom half of the fourth inning here on WolverineGreen.com. Utah Valley's Caden Schmidt pitches out of a jam. Now we'll see what the boys behind him can come up with here, as it's going to be Zach Fuller, Cade Andrus, and Mark Kruger, 9, 1, and 2 coming up. This has been a part of the lineup that's been having good at-bats and getting some nice hits and started some good innings here in this series for Utah Valley. Fuller singled in his first at-bat today and then stole second base. Jake Perkins kicks and delivers, and there's ball one, 1 ball and no strikes. The left-hander, Jake Perkins, back to work here. Kicks and delivers the 1-0 pitch. Fuller takes that one, a fastball on the inside, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes.
We have defensive changes, of course, after Jordan Stroshine pinch hit in that last inning.
2 balls and no strikes. That one in there for a called strike at the knees, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
We don't know what those defensive changes are, Ryan. I cannot emphasize this enough. Green camouflaged uniforms with the camouflage numbers.
That one's tapped right back to Perkins. He'll turn, throw over to first in time. There's 1 away.
Not great for us up in the booth.
Not great at all. It looks like, though, Stroshine came in and right. Is what I have, and I just had the right fielder had his back turned, but not anymore. So Cade Andrus is going to stand in, and the first pitch from is low for a ball to Andrus, 1 ball and no strikes. And Jordan, I was just going with what we have here on our live stats. So they put Stroshine in right, Matheson in left, and I'm going to go with that until I have other record.
Well, I know who's running the live stats.
1 ball and no strikes. The breaking ball comes in at the knees. That's 1-1,
and they're trying to verify that right now. We think that's who it is.
So 1 ball and 1 strike to count. And the delivery comes home. Breaking ball stays high for Andrus, and it's 2-1. That would make sense. Matheson did play left field in last night's ball game, so it would make some sense logically, but we'll wait for confirmation officially here. The 2-1 pitch swung on. That was going to be chopped up over the third baseman, Gertensen. And taking the chart, Andrus slips as he goes around second, just kind of tripped, but he's going to hold at first with a base hit. And so with 1 out, a 1-out single, and Utah Valley brings Mark Kruger to the plate. So Kruger is going to wear number 21, and he's got 2 hits in the ball game. 5-0 Utah Valley, bottom of the 4th inning, 1 away for Kruger. Jake Perkins has pitched pretty well for the most part in the ball game, as that off-speed stuff's fooled some Wolverines. Kruger takes a big cut and comes up empty, no balls and a strike. No balls and 1 strike to count on Mark Kruger. Kruger now hitting .333 on the season with his 2-hit performance today. Runner gets his lead at first. Delivery comes home. Fastball misses away. That one at 83 miles an hour, and it's 1-1 strike. Cade Andrus, the runner, over at first. On the season, Andrus 5 for 9 in stolen base attempts. So he is a threat to try to steal second base. Perkins kicks and delivers home. That one stays high again with the fastball. 2-1. Of course, it's harder to try to steal second base with the left-hander on the mound because they have a little bit more at their arsenal to throw over to first. 2-1 the count on Mark Kruger. Perkins this time steps and throws over. It can also be maybe a little easier to tell if they're going to throw over to first, though, because they'll bring that leg straight up and then throw over. So sometimes it can be a little easier to tell the pickoff move. Andrus with a big lead at first, not going. That one misses away with the fastball. 3-1. So now going to force Jake Perkins to have to come in to Mark Kruger. Or, if they don't, could be a walk. 3-1 the count. Perkins delivers, and that one misses inside, ball 4. So Mark Kruger gets on for the 3rd time today. That's his 6th time he's drawn a walk here in the series. And Utah Valley threatening again with 1 out and a couple of men on for Grayson Bogdan. Bogdan reached on an error and also singled, so he's been on twice this afternoon. As Bogdan moved up into the 3-hole for this one. 277 hitter as Bogdan stands in from the right side. Infield up the middle, double play depth for the Chicago State Cougars. Schmidt at first, playing in on the grass. Bogdan takes, and that hit him. And they're going to tell him to stay in the box, though. He didn't try to get out of the way. So it says the umpire acknowledged that it hit him and then tells him to stay in the box.
Yeah, that ball broke so much. I don't think Bogdan really even expected that ball to hit him.
So it is a ball, so it's 1-0 on Grayson Bogdan. And you didn't see much complaint from Bogdan either, just kind of standing there. And Jordan, I like that point. That had a lot of break, and it had a lot of late break. 1-0 the count to Bogdan. The delivery home. Fastball, Bogdan lines this one to center. It's going to stay up. Patterson's now going to have to come in, makes the basket catch, and the throw to third in on a hop, which will hold Cade Andrus.
Yeah, nice play out there in center by Patterson. That ball was hit very hard by Bogdan, but right at Jared Patterson.
So 2 outs for Spencer Gothberg, and that's one of those situations we talked about earlier where if he hits the ball a little softer, that falls for a base hit. But you want the ball to be hit hard, so you'll take the out if you're Utah Valley on the hard hit ball. So here's Gothberg. Gothberg 0 for 2, but does have an RBI. Had an RBI in his ground out back in the 3rd inning. Runners on at second, Cade Andrus. Mark Kruger over at first. Action now brewing in the Chicago State pen as that one comes inside for a ball. 1-0. A left-hander getting loose down there.
Looks like he may be in the Army. That's all I know.
1-0 the count. Gothberg from the right side of the plate. Outfield playing pretty straight away. Infield back at normal depth and not holding Mark Kruger at first. The 1-0 pitch on its way. Breaking ball that had, once again, just that slow breaking ball that just ends up right down the middle for a called strike. It makes the count 1-1. 63 miles an hour on the breaking ball. 1-1 the count. Big hole sitting off there in right center field with Patterson shaded more towards left field. 1-1 the count. Stepping off is Perkins. Jake Perkins, the left-hander. 3 2/3, 5 runs. Only 3, though, have been earned. 1-1 the count. The delivery on its way. That one in the dirt. Good block behind home plate by Swenson to keep the runners at bay. And it's 2-1 now to Spencer Gothberg. Gothberg gets some signs over from the coaching box, or from the dugout. Cooper Fouts over at third. It's Derek Amicone at first. 2-1 the count. Runners bouncing around out there. Second is Cade Anders. Breaking ball. That one misses low, ball 3. And now it's 3-1 to Gothberg. So a fastball count, if you're Gothberg, should see a pitch where he can do something with it here. If not, it's Andy Perkins on deck. 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th. The kick and the delivery comes home. That one swung on, base hit into left field. They're going to wave Cade Andrus around third. The relay throw is going to be cut off there by Sullivan, and it's 6-0 Utah Valley here in the 4th on an RBI single by Spencer Gothberg. So Gothberg with his second RBI of the ball game. Cade Andrus able to motor around third to score, and the left fielder Matheson there, I think he would have had a play at the plate, but the throw came in to just the cutoff man. And so 6-0 as Andy Perkins steps into the plate. Runners get their lead. Kruger at second, Gothberg at first. 2 away. Jake Perkins kicks and delivers to Andy Perkins, and that's high for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. The battle of the Perkins in this one's 1 for 2. Jake got the line out in the first, and then Andy had the RBI single in the third. 1 ball and no strikes. The kick and the delivery comes in. That one paints the outside corner, evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. This could be the last time we see this matchup. So we'll see here who wins the 3-game series, I guess you could say. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jake Perkins set and delivers home the 1-1 pitch. That one breaks well off the plate. Swenson thought about throwing down, but I think the ball slipped out of his hand, went to slip out of his hands, and a good decision there to hold it. If he would have thrown it, who knows what happens with that baseball. And it's 2 balls and a strike now on the left-handed hitting Andy Perkins. 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 down, bottom of the 4th inning. Utah Valley with 1 in here in the 4th. Leading this one 6-0. The pitch comes, and that hits the outside corner right at the knees, 2-2. A tough pitch there to take if you're Andy Perkins, because it is, close to the plate, but at that point it's low, where if you do swing, it's a tailor-made ground ball to Matt Sullivan in that situation. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The kick and the delivery comes home. Perkins swings and fouls it away, as it looks like the ball kind of made some contact with Swenson, as he seems to be maybe a little shaken up, just kind of walking it off. You got a combination there of the pitcher throwing and then the speed of the ball when it hits the bat also coming back off the catcher. He looks to be okay, back in his stance behind home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Gothberg getting a pretty big lead. Schmidt came in to try to get Gothberg back to the bag. Breaking ball. Perkins swings and comes up empty. But the Wolverines didn't come up empty in the 4th. They add 1 at the end of 4 here from Brent Brown Ballpark. It's Utah Valley 6, Chicago State 0. You're watching Utah Valley University Baseball on WolverineGreen.com.
Jordan Bianucci back here with you at Brent Brown Ballpark as we begin the top half of the 5th inning. 6-0, the Wolverines in control here over the Cougars of Chicago State. Back out on the mound for the Wolverines, it's Caden Schmidt, the hard-throwing right-hander. Matt Sullivan, the 9-place hitter for Chicago State, takes a fastball down and away. 1 ball, no strikes to him. The Wolverines scored 1 run in the bottom half of the 4th inning and left 2 stranded. Here's a little blooper into left field. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Chicago State has something going. Matt Sullivan, a little bloop, leadoff single. And here comes the top of the order and Jared Patterson. Patterson today, 1 for 1. He doubled down the first base line back in the 3rd inning. He walked in the 1st inning, was ultimately stranded on the base paths at 3rd. So Caden Schmidt back into his stretch. Glove resting on that left leg. Now comes set belt high. He throws. Patterson takes a fastball away. And it's 1-0. I say fastball. I think that was the slider there from Schmidt. Sullivan with a short lead at first, held on by Gothberg. Big hole on that right side. The right-handed hitter Patterson waiting. 1-0. That one swung on through that right side. Base hit. Holding it second will be Sullivan. In there with a single is Patterson. So Chicago State has 2 base runners on, 2 consecutive singles to begin the 5th. And here comes Mattingly Romanen. Romanen, a right-handed hitter, has bounced out and flied out. 6-0, Wolverines leading, top of the 5th. 2 men on, nobody out for the Cougars. That wind now beginning to gust in from center field as a breaking ball misses down and in to the right-handed hitting Romanen. The wind really blowing in from right field right now with gusto, but playing deep in right field is Kruger. Everybody straight away for the Wolverines. Breaking ball misses in, and it's 2-0 now to Mattingly Romanen. And here comes Eric Matson, and we may have a change already. He has yet to make the signal, and now he does. So, the lefty, I believe it's Braden Poole, will come in for the Wolverines as Caden Schmidt's day is over. So Chicago State threatening here. Schmidt pitched well, went 4 innings, no runs, 4 hits. We will head to the, we'll just take a quick break here on WolverineGreen.com. The Cougars with 2 men on and nobody out in the 5th. However, the Wolverines leading 6-0. Braden Poole in to pitch in relief for the Wolverines. He inherits A 2-0 count to Mattingly Romanen with men on first and second. Nobody out, top of the 5th inning. Poole, the lefty, working from the stretch. Come set, that one popped up and foul. Back behind us. Poole this season, this is his 10th appearance overall. He has a 3.86 earn run average. 1 save this season. He's pitched 9 1/3 innings, struck out 6, walked 4. Opponents are hitting .265 against the lefty. 2 balls, 1 strike the count, as he inherited that 2-ball, no strike count. That one swung on, a little looping liner into right field. It's going to fall. Base hit down the line. Coming over is Cougar. He'll field it in foul territory. 1 run will come in to score. The throw comes into second base. An RBI single for Romanen, and it's 6-1. So the Wolverines still ahead by 5 runs, but the Cougars doing a nice job here. Having a rally going, still nobody out, and runners on the corners for Chase Matheson. Not a hard hit ball, just a little looping liner down the line in right field, but it gets the job done. We've seen a lot of those today. So here's Matheson. He doubled back in the 4th inning, just last inning. It was a hard hit ball that Perkins couldn't handle and left. Poole facing the right-handed hitter. Fastball misses outside. Snap throw down to first. Back and diving safely is Romanen. So Sullivan was the man who came in to score there after leading off this inning with a single. And now something, Gothberg down on one knee. He's not injured. Seems to be just fixing either the first base bag or his glove there. Can't quite, looks like his first base mitt. Something was wrong, but now he's ready to go. He's holding on Romanen at first base. Patterson leading off third. Hugging the line at third base is Schley Huber. The pitch. That one swung on. Line drive down the left field line. It's going to get down for a base hit. 1 more run will come to score. Patterson comes in. The throw comes into third. It's 6-2. In there with an RBI single is Chase Matheson, and the Cougars are rallying in the 5th. Matheson again, just as Romanen, not a hard hit ball, but perfectly placed down the left field line. The Cougars playing a little station to station game right now. 2 men on, nobody out. Here's Andy Gertensen. Poole comes set, checks the runners, and he throws. Fastball swung on and missed. And it's 0-1 to Gertensen. Gertensen is 0 for 1. Flied out in the first and walked back in the 4th inning. The 0-1. Breaking ball misses down and in, and the count's even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Waiting on deck is Matt Schmidt. So 4 singles in this inning, 4 consecutive singles. Gothberg playing in front of the runner at first base. A short lead at second for Romanen. UVU leads Chicago State 6-2. Poole throws, swung on, chopped foul, back near the UVU on deck circle, and the count is 1-2. So Poole trying to put out the fire here. He came in to face Mattingly Romanen just 2 hitters ago and has since given up 2 consecutive singles and 2 runs. The runners at first and second, short leads. Now they'll extend them a bit. The 1-2 pitch, curveball, strike 3 called on the outside corner. And Gertensen did not like the call. He had a word with Kellen Levy, the home plate umpire, but then heads back to the dugout. So a huge strikeout there, 1 out in the inning. First strikeout for Poole and his first out in relief. So now a ground ball can end the threat. Here's the left-handed hitting Matt Schmidt. He's 0 for 2 today with a strikeout. And now time is taken. Everybody playing straight away. Gothberg will move back behind the runner, hugging the line at first base. Schlehuber about 10 feet off the bag at third. Runner takes off from second. The throw down. He's out. And now time is taken. What did they call him safe? They called him out. UVU looked like they were heading back to the dugout. And no, they're still on the field. And now the head coach for Chicago State, Steve Jocelyn, is out there having a animated argument with the third base umpire, Mike Whitty, and I'm not sure what he's actually arguing. No one has left. It was a delayed steal on the part I beg your pardon. It was a steal from second base to third base by Romanin. After Romanin took off, it was a delayed steal by Matheson. He reached second base. I have no idea what Steve Jocelyn is angry about. Well, they did call him out, and the runner just stayed at third base. So that's something you don't see all that often. Usually the runner will, head towards the dugout when he's called out right away. But no, the Romanin stayed put at third base as if Jocelyn was going to change the mind of Mike Whitty. But a huge out for the Wolverines. And to be honest with you, I don't understand the call to steal third in the first place. Is Seth Rainier is out there having a chat with Braden Poole as time is taken. It looks like Jordan Schlehuber got hit in the face with, I don't know if he got with the ball, if it came up on his glove, or maybe just the slide from Matheson came up and hit him, because his nose is bloodied. And Beeve Levitt, the head trainer for UVU, out there putting some cotton up there, make sure the bleeding stops, and he does. He's all right. Back to the steal, though. Down 6-2 in the fifth inning with one out. I'm not sure. You want to get guys to second and third rather than first and second, but you're down 4 runs if you're Chicago State, and that's the worst thing that can happen. You just gave the Wolverines an out, and a base runner was erased. Here's the pitch. This one gets away from Rainier off to the right, taking third on the wild pitch is Matheson. So a runner on third now, 2 out. Matt Schmidt, the man at the plate, he has a 2-0 count on him, the left-handed hitter. 6-2, Wolverines leading here in the fifth inning. A man on, 2 outs. Poole throws. 2-0 pitch is swung on and popped up. High, shallow left center field, coming in and into left and making the grab, then falling down. He dropped the baseball. It was Andrus. And everybody's safe. Run comes into score. Into second is Schmidt, and that's just unbelievable. Andrus had to come so far from center field. He was in shallow left field when the ball went into his glove and then popped up. Of course, that is Andrus's ball. The center fielder has the call every time. He called off Andy Perkins and left. But as soon as it seemed like he caught the ball went into the glove. He then fell down or slid, purposefully or not, and the ball popped up. So that's going to be an error. They haven't put it on the board yet. I would think that would be an error. Here's one that's popped up. This one fouled down the right field line, but in play, giving chase is Gothberg, the first baseman, and he can't make the grab. He tried to make a over-the-shoulder grab near the bullpen down there in the right field line. It would have been a sensational grab. Gothberg really traveled or covered a lot of ground on that foul ball. Swenson, the man at the plate, 0-1 to the right-handed hitter now. So Schmidt reaches second base on the E8, as it will go down in the scorebook. Coming into score was Matheson. So it's 6-3. Wolverines, Chicago State, 3 runs in here in the fifth. A man on, 2 men out. 1 strike the count to Swenson. Poole throws. Fastball misses high and away. 1-1 to the right-handed hitter. Swenson struck out back in the second inning and flied out to right field in the fourth. Poole, the lefty, comes set. Checks Schmidt at second. Fastball in there on the inside corner, and it's strike two. I say a fastball, a breaking ball there. So the Wolverines trying to limit the damage right now. They've allowed 3 runs in the inning. They still lead 6-3. But there's a man in scoring position at second with 2 outs, and now time is taken at the plate by Robert Swenson. He'll step out. Cody Friend would bat should Swenson reach. Schmidt with his lead at second base. That one swung on and hit high into center field. Going back is Andrus. Now we'll settle under it. He will make the grab, and the inning is finally over. But the Wolverines give up 3 runs on 4 hits. The Cougars leave a man stranded at second. We head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Wolverines 6, Cougars 3. You're listening to Utah Valley Baseball on WolverineGreen.com. New pitcher in for Chicago State. It's the left-hander, Zach Thomas. Thomas, a hard-throwing lefty. He will face, for the Wolverines, Seth Rainier, Palmer Page, and Jordan Schlehuber. And we're trying to find updated stats on Thomas. However, we don't have up to the date. We didn't get any from Chicago State. So let's see here if we can find Schlehuber at the beginning of this series. And Thomas has not pitched in this series. So he will face Rainier, lefty on righty. Nobody on. Here's the pitch. Fastball misses away. 1 ball, no strikes. Seth Rainier to lead off here in the bottom of the 5th. 6-3, the Wolverines leading. That one swung on and hit well to left. Going back is Matheson. Matheson will play the carom off the wall. Into second base is Rainier with a double. Rainier hit that one off the top of the wall. Playing it very well in left was Matheson. But Rainier with great speed reaches second, and a leadoff double for the Wolverines. Bring up Palmer Page. Page, of course, getting it's his season debut this afternoon. Just became eligible today. The left-handed hitter will step in there. He has a sacrifice fly, picked up an RBI back in the 3rd inning. Also struck out in the 2nd. Lefty on lefty. Rainier at second base. Six to 3 Wolverines. The pitch, that one hit him in the back. Fastball, rather breaking ball, got away from Thomas and hit Palmer right in the upper back. He's okay. We'll head down to first. And now Chicago State really in a bind here. The first two runners on base for the Wolverines. And here is Jordan Schlehuber. Schlehuber tagged out Matheson Romanen at third base when he was attempting to steal last inning, and he took, not sure where or what hit him, but he took something in the face and bloodied his nose, and seems to be okay though. Hitting from the right side, he shows bunt early. Thomas throws, pulls back the bunt, fastball just misses away as Schmidt, the first baseman, was charging in hard. 1 ball, no strikes to Schlehuber. Schlehuber 0 for 2 today. Lined out to shortstop back in the third inning. See if he shows bunt here. 1 ball, no strikes the count. Runners on first and second. Playing in on the grass at first is Schmidt. He starts to charge. He's halfway to home plate as Schlehuber shows bunt again early. Stepping off the rubber is Thomas. Page at first base. Rainier at second. Nobody out. The pitch. Fastball misses down and in. Pulling back the bunt again was Schlehuber, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Waiting on deck is Zach Fuller. Lefty on righty matchup. Schlehuber hitting 160 on the season. 2-0 pitch. Fastball away, and it's 3-0. That ball not missing by much. Just a bit outside, maybe a bit above the belt. Now it's 3-0 to Schlehuber. He's just trying to sacrifice the runners to second and third. Doesn't show bunt. Now he does. Fastball missed up high, and he walked him. So the last thing you want if you're Zach Thomas, Schlehuber is giving you an out with a bunt, and you can't throw a strike. So that has to be frustrating for Chicago State. And here comes Zach Fuller with the bases loaded. Rainier doubled to begin this 5th inning. Since then, 2 consecutive walks. And now the infield comes in for Chicago State. The outfield playing middle deep. The right-handed hitting Fuller waiting. Now he shows bunt. Breaking ball falls in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Fuller hitting .219 on the season, but he has been hot as of late. Came into this ball game was 5 for 7 in the series. He's 6 for 8 now. Here's a strike on the outside corner. Quickly 0-2 to Fuller. Fuller, usually the second baseman for Utah Valley, is in the designated hitter spot today. Palmer Page playing second. The 0-2 pitch coming. Fastball misses high and away at 82. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Fuller. 6-3, Wolverines lead. Bottom of the 5th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Wolverines could blow this one open with a big inning here. A huge gap in left center as Patterson has moved just a shade to the right. 1-2 pitch swung on, fouled back to the screen. Waiting on deck is Cade Andrus, and playing shallow in center field as well as Patterson. The right fielder, Stroshine, also playing pretty shallow in right. Playing regular depth in left field is Chase Matheson, and straight away left. A wide open space in that Death Valley area near the 427 marker in left center field. 1-2 pitch, swung on, fouled back to the screen. Just getting a piece of it was Fuller. The Wolverines trying to sweep this series. They won the first 2 games, including last night's walk-off thriller, coming back from a 5-run deficit to win in the 9th. Bases loaded here. 1-2 pitch to Fuller. He swings. Left center field. Liner coming over is Patterson. Will make the grab. He'll throw into second as the run comes in to score from third. That's Rainier. And it's 7-3 Wolverines. So an RBI for Zach Fuller. Just a line drive to center field. And now that turns the order over for the Wolverines, and Cade Andrus will come to the plate. Schlehuber still the man at first base. Page at second. Two men on, a man out, 7-3 Wolverines. Zach Thomas, the lefty, comes set above the belt. Checks the runner at second, not being held on. Breaking ball right there on the outside corner, and it's 0-1 to Andrus. Andrus this afternoon, 1 for 2. He singled and scored a run back in the fourth inning. Scored a run in the first inning when he stole home against the starter, the lefty Jake Perkins. The 0-1 pitch coming to him. Fastball swung on and missed. Foul tipped, says Kellen Levy, into the glove of Swenson. So quickly the count is 0-2 to Cade Andrus. And Andrus' last at bat, he faced Jake Perkins and did not look good. Perkins, kind of a junk ball pitcher, threw a lot of breaking stuff. Or excuse me, in that strikeout. That was back in the second inning, I beg your pardon. 0-2 pitch, fastball misses high and away, 1-2. In his last at bat, he did look good. Just a nice, not a real hard hit ball into left field, but a looping liner got down. He takes the ball here, makes the count 1-2. That wind still lazily blowing in from right field. Patterson playing shallow in center field. If Andrus can hit one over his head, he could run a while. That one swung on, he popped it up in foul territory on the third base side, but it is going to get just out of play into the dugout. Coming over was the third baseman, Gertensen, near the stairwell of the UVU dugout, and he reached in there and couldn't quite get it. He almost took a step into the dugout and tried to make the catch. Of course, you can't do that. You have to be in play. You can be leaning into the dugout, but you can't enter it to make the catch, no matter how entertaining that might be. So the count's still 1-2 to Cade Andrus. Mark Kruger waiting on deck. Runners on first and second, a man out here in the fifth. One run in for the Wolverines. They lead 7-3 as a fastball misses away, and it's 2-2 to the right-handed hitting center fielder. Wolverines really trying to blow this one open. They lead by 4 runs. Thomas taking his time. Now comes set. Short leads at first and second. There's a little flare into right field. Coming in is Stroshine. He'll make the grab in shallow right field. The runners will retreat back to first and second. And they're 2 away in the inning. So Andrus ends up putting the bat on the ball, but it hangs up there for Stroshine, and with 2 outs, here comes Mark Kruger. Kruger has had a terrific series, a terrific couple of weeks, and a terrific ball game today. 2 singles, a run scored, and a walk. The tall left-hander at the plate waiting for the lefty Thomas on the mound to offer. Now Thomas steps off the pitcher's plate and will look in for the signs. The pitch. Kruger takes a ball in the dirt outside, and it's 1-0. Schlehuber at first base, Palmer Page at second. Seth Rainier led off this inning with a double, came around to score on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Zach Fuller. 1 ball, no strikes to Kruger. Slightly open stance from the left side, waves that bat behind his body, then brings it up and set, swings and misses at a fastball here, and it's 1-1. Kruger homered in game 1 of this series. He's hitting .333 on the season, a .490 slugging percentage. However, he has struck out 24 times. The 1-1 pitch coming to him. Schlehuber, a good-sized lead at first, not being held on. That one swung on and lifted high but foul on the third base side, giving chases Gertensen, but it gets out of play onto the front row, and the gentleman in the front row had it in his hands and couldn't quite make the play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Mark.
I'd give him an A for effort though, Jordan.
I wouldn't.
He doesn't have a glove.
He doesn't, Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's true. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Kruger swings and misses. He chased a bad ball out of the strike zone, and he is not happy with himself. However, the Wolverines get a hit and a run. They leave 2 men on the base path, so we head to the top of the 6th inning. The Wolverines lead the Cougars 7-3. You're listening to Utah Valley Baseball on WolverineGreen.com. We begin the top half of the 6th inning here in Orem, 7-3. Utah Valley leading Chicago State in the series finale. Braden Poole, the lefty, back out on the mound for UVU. He will face Cody Friend, Jordan Stroshine, and Matt Sullivan, 7, 8, 9. Stroshine hitting from the left side. He pinch hit back in the 4th inning. First pitch to him, he bunts it, a chopper to third base side. Schlehuber charging, fields it cleanly, throws to first for the out, and there's one away. Nice play by Jordan Schlehuber at third base, charging in. Had to make a quick play as Friend has some speed. And I said, I beg your pardon, I said Stroshine there. Stroshine will come to hit now. That was Friend who just bunted and was thrown out by Schlehuber. So here's Stroshine. He takes a strike, and I mentioned this, but Stroshine did pinch hit back in the 4th inning. He popped up with a couple of men on base to end the inning. Pinch hit for Evan Davis. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball stays up high. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. Utah Valley will make the about 10-minute trek east to BYU on Tuesday night. That one swung on and hit high, deep to left. Going back is Perkins. Perkins at the wall, looking up. Goodbye! A home run for Jordan Stroshine. A solo shot that was hit high and deep, barely got out, but it did, and it's 7-4.
I've just kind of one off the bat that you thought, oh, this might just be a high fly ball, and you just kept seeing Andy Perkins going back, and then finally you just see him run out of room, just look up, and the ball just barely, like you said, Jordan, just getting out maybe by a few feet.
Yeah, and down that left field, or in left field, there's the wall, which is 10 feet, I believe, high, and then an extended chain link fence above that. So maybe a 15-foot wall out there, maybe a bit higher as a strike is taken by Matt Sullivan. And that ball just got over the chain link. Only 305 down the left field line here at Brent Brown. That one swung on and hit well in the left center field. Coming over, though, is Andrus. He will make an easy grab. And Sullivan is retired. So 2 away, base is empty now for the top of the order, Jared Patterson. That ball looked like it was hit well off the bat, but it really hung up there and died, unlike Stroshines, which just kept carrying. Patterson this afternoon, he is 2 for 2, walked back in the first, doubled and singled, scored a run. Right-handed hitter waits, Poole delivers. Fastball's in there for a strike. Mentioned we'll head to Brigham Young on Tuesday night. UVU looking to avenge the loss that the Cougars laid upon them here at Brent Brown a few weeks ago. Fastball catches the outside corner, and it's 0-2. That game will be a 6 p.m. start over at Brigham Young, so don't miss it. Then, just a couple of days later on Friday, Sacramento State comes into town here at Brent Brown for a big 3-game series. 0-2 pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Bases empty, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th inning, 7-4, UVU leading Chicago State. Jared Patterson hitting .297 on the season. Poole working from the windup. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball. Ooh, just maybe a bit high, maybe off the plate on the outside, just a hair, just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I believe the starting pitcher on Tuesday, it has not been official, maybe Jake Mayer, as that one is chopped foul down the left field line and onto the berm where the kids will scramble after it. Okay sized crowd on hand today, maybe 400, maybe 400 or 500 here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Utah Valley. The 2-2 pitch. Fastball swung on, lifted into right field. A little bloop going out of the second fielder. Diving is Kruger, and it's in there for a base hit as Kruger couldn't quite come up with it. Signaling that safe sign as it hit the ground was the first base umpire, Flugrot. So a 2-out single, just a bloop, a dying quail, Texas leaguer, whatever you want to call it, in there for Patterson. And here is Romanin.
Kruger gave it a great effort there, but just, that 1 foot in that case makes a big difference in that being an out to a hit.
Yeah.
Patterson, for not having a hit coming into this one, has 3 in this game, so doing a good job at the top of the lineup for Chicago State.
So here's Romanin, who singled in a run back in his last at bat. He was the first man Poole faced when he came in relief of Caden Schmidt, the right-handed starter for UVU. The pitch from Poole. Fastball misses up high. 1 ball, no strikes. Waiting on deck is Chase Matheson. So it's a big bloop single for Jared Patterson as it allows the heart of the order now to come up with 2 outs in the inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Poole working from the stretch. Now a snap throw down to first. Back in safely as the runner. The fastball missed high and away, so it's 2 balls, no strikes to Mattingly Romanin.
Rainier's got a good arm. We've seen him throw down a couple of times in this one, and each time he seems to get a little closer and closer. So something to keep an eye on as we get in the later innings. You got to pay attention if you're running at first.
Now throwing back over to first is Poole. The right-hander, Logan Hold, getting loose down in the bullpen for the Wolverines, just in case Poole gets into any more trouble. He has a 3-run cushion as the Wolverines lead 7-4. Now a throw over to first base again, keeping an eye on Patterson. Patterson has stolen 5 bags this season, has been caught twice. Gothberg holding him on over there at first. I can't imagine down 3 runs he'd be taking off. The pitch, fastball missed up high, and it's 3-0. However, last inning, with Chicago State trailing by more than 3 runs, Romanin took off from second base, tried to steal third, and was caught stealing. So that was unexpected. So who knows? Now, barely off the bag was Patterson, and Poole still throws over there.
And the interesting thing to note about that steal last inning was typically you're not going to try to steal third with a left-hander at the plate because an outside pitch is an easy throw for the catcher to make.
And they still tried to steal the bag. 3-0 pitch is a strike on the outside corner, a fastball just catching the edge there. A man on, 2 men out. 7-4 Wolverines. 3 balls, 1 strike, the count to Romanin. The pull throws, line drive down the left field line, foul. And making a nice play down there off the mound was Logan Hold to pick that one in between warming up down there in between pitches. So the count is full. The wind now begins to lazily blow in from center field. The outfield playing deep for the Wolverines with the exception of Kruger and Wright, who's hugging the line down there. Full count. The runner will take off with the pitch. The pitch. Here's a little chopper to second base. Charging is Page. He has it. Throws to Gothberg at first, and the inning is over. So, UVU does give up a run on the solo shot off the bat of Jordan Stroshine, but the Wolverines, or rather Chicago State, leaves a man stranded on the base paths. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Wolverines 7, Cougars 4. The Wolverines lead 7-4 over Chicago State as we begin the bottom half of the 6th inning. Grayson Bogdan will lead things off, followed by Spencer Gothberg and Andy Perkins. 3, 4, and 5 for UVU. Bogdan, this afternoon, singled back in the first inning, reached on an error, and scored a run in the third. He flied out in his last at-bat. He takes a ball here. Zach Thomas, the lefty, back out on the mound for Chicago State. The 1-0 pitch, swung on and chopped foul near the on-deck circle on the first base side, and it's 1-1. The Wolverines wearing their alternate black tops with the white pants and black hats this afternoon. A new look this season. 1 ball, 1 strike. Breaking ball misses inside to the right-handed hitting shortstop, and it's 2-1. We've talked about it. The Cougars wearing the green and maybe a little brown in their camouflage tops with the green hats as a fastball misses way away, and it's 3-1. And it remind me, the Padres, of course, wear camouflage every Sunday as a tribute to the military. Here's a big high pop-up in the infield. Bogdan, frustrated, throws down his bat as he missed that one. A pitch over the middle of the plate, and he popped it up. I believe making the grab was the first baseman Schmidt, and there's one away for Gothberg.
Just gets under that one there. He just pops it up. That's one that Bogdan's going to want back, but he'll try to maybe work on that in his next at-bat.
Fastball misses away as Gothberg showed bunt. Charging in hard from third was Gertensen. So the Wolverines trying to take 3 from the Cougars here, and then they'll face another Cougar team on Tuesday. That's Brigham Young. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. BYU, or rather UVU, faces BYU 3 times this season. 1-1 pitch, fastball over the plate, strike 2. As they face the University of Utah 3 times as well. Those in-state games, always a good time. 1-2 pitches swung on and missed by Gothberg. A nice fastball in the outside corner. He was behind it, and they're 2 away for Andy Perkins. Perkins had an RBI single back in the 3rd inning. He also scored in that inning. He's 1 for 3, struck out in his last at-bat. The lefty will step in there facing the lefty Thomas on the mound. The wind now gusting in from right field. The pitch, breaking ball, catches the outside corner, strike one. Base is empty, 2 down in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Wolverines leading Chicago State 7-4. That one swung on, a little liner and a hop right in front of Sullivan. He makes a nice play on the in-between hop and throws to first for the out. So Sullivan had to deal with a sinking liner that hit the dirt maybe 3 feet in front of him, but he played it very well and throws out Perkins. So the inning is over. No hits, nobody left, no runs for the Wolverines. We head to the top of the 7th, 7-4, Utah Valley leading here on WolverineGreen.com. The Wolverines lead at 7-4 as we head to the top of the 7th. New pitcher in for the Wolverines. It is Logan Hold, the righty. Has a 5.95 earned run average. He's 1-1 win-loss on the season. This will be his 14th appearance. He's pitched 19 2/3 innings, struck out 13, and walked 19. He will face Chase Matheson, Andy Gertensen, and Matt Schmidt. And to tell you all about it, here is Ryan Pickens.
Thanks, Jordan, as the first pitch is outside on the corner for a called strike. 0-1 to Chase Matheson. Matheson on the day has an RBI single, a double, and a ground out. And the 0-1 pitch from Hold is swung on. That one's lined to left, but Perkins playing a great defensive positioning right there to make the play, and there's one out here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, Perkins playing very deep. That ball carrying right to him there. Chicago State, they need base runners as they trail by 3 runs here in the 7th.
So with one out, that's going to bring up Andy Gertensen. Gertensen walked, struck out, and flew out in this one. Wearing number 7, stands in from the right side of the plate. Hold kicks and delivers, bunt showdown, and Gertensen fouls it back to the backstop. No balls and a strike. Gertensen, a junior from Crystal Lake, Illinois.
Sounds like a nice place.
Seems to be hitting in the, well, he's hitting in the cleanup spot, so he'll have another year here for Chicago State. And that one misses low and away for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Next year, I believe Utah Valley will make the return trip to the Windy City and play against these Cougars on the road. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Logan Hold set from the stretch, delivers, and that one swung on and hit pretty well by Gertensen. He's got the power, back on the track. Goodbye, baseball. Home run for Andy Gertensen, as the second home run hit in this game by Chicago State, as Gertensen touches them all here, and that brings it back to a 7-5 game. So the Cougars showing they have a little rally still left in them.
Yeah, a lot of resiliency from this Chicago State team. It's a ball game. It's a 2-run ball game now. UVU has been in control, it seems, all afternoon. This Cougar team, I've been very impressed. Just never giving up. No give in them.
Matt Schmidt takes a big cut. He was trying to put that one out on University Parkway, but came up empty. No balls and a strike. Good cut. I mean, great swing. Just didn't get any of the baseball. No balls and 1 strike to count. Logan Hold kicks and delivers home, and that one swung on, lined right up the middle, base hit. So a 1-out single here, as Chicago State continues this rally and will now bring the tying run to the plate in the catcher Robert Swenson, as there's action going in the Utah Valley bullpen. I believe that's Marco Briones, number 25, getting loose, and I'm not sure who the right-hander is.
It is Marco Briones, and checking on the righty.
Dave Carter, in the meantime, goes out to get a quick word with Logan Hold.
I believe it's Brett Snyder, the freshman, getting warm down there.
Hold, a sophomore from Las Vegas, Shadow Ridge High School and Southern Nevada Community College. The right-hander will now get set. Seth Reinier getting back behind home plate, and Robert Swenson, the Chicago State catcher. Yeah, it's a green uniform for Chicago State. This is my first real good look at it, or somewhat of a good look, with camouflage and then the dark green numbers. So you have a dark green number on a dark green jersey. Hold, set, and delivers home, and that's inside called strike 0-1. I promise that's the last time I mentioned Chicago State's jerseys.
No, I just have a question really quick. You said you finally had a real good look at it. What have you been doing for the past 2 hours? Besides watching this ball game?
Educated attempts. The 0-1 breaking ball hits the outside corner, 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes to count on Robert Swenson. I don't know. Maybe it's the way the sun's hitting the uniform,
yeah.
or
Blame it on the sun.
No balls and 2 strikes. Logan Hold set on the mound. Gets the sign from Reinier, delivers home the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball. It sits below the knees for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I mentioned it earlier, but a good-sized crowd on hand. More and more have filed in as this game has gone on. The berm and above the berm on the plaza level, full of spectators.
1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Robert Swenson goes down. So Logan Hold gets his first strikeout, the second out of the inning, and Cody Friend, the designated hitter, will come up. It's a busy day here at UVU because you have the baseball game going on here. Right behind us, we have the UVU softball team playing a doubleheader. And I want to say there was a soccer game or something else going on earlier this morning. I'm sure that's probably over by now, but something else was going on. It's been a busy day over here at Utah Valley University. The first pitch in there low for a ball to Cody Friend. Friend on the day, grounded out, walked, and grounded out again. So 2 groundouts and a walk for Friend. 1 ball, no strikes to count. The runner over at first gets a lead, and the pitch comes, and Friend swings and fouls it back. Matt Schmidt, the runner over there, hasn't stolen a base this year. Kind of leaning toward, it kind of looked like he's maybe leaning towards going, but I wouldn't think with 2 outs you'd risk making the 3rd out on a stolen base, but you never know. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Hold delivers home the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses again just off the plate for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. He's not missing by much, just 1/4 of an inch here, 1/4 of an inch there.
Yeah, good pitches. Friend has a big hole to hit up the middle if he wants it as the left-handed hitter. They're playing the left-handed hitter to pull on the right side.
2-1 pitch, misses low again, ball 3, and the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. The count here on Friend.
He will see something very good to hit here. You don't want to put the tying run on base.
3 balls and 1 strike. Hold delivers home, and that's low, ball 4. And the tying run is on base, and the leading run is coming to the plate in the bat of Jordan Stroshine.
Jordan Stroshine, by the way, what did he do in his last plate appearance, Ryan? I'm trying to remember.
He hit a ball. Oh, yeah, it went over the fence for a home run.
Yeah, he hit a home run.
So it looks like UVU is going to stick so far here in the early going. It looks like they're going to stick with Logan Hold to face Stroshine.
It's never easy for Utah Valley. It seems like.
No balls and no strikes as Stroshine stands in. The first pitch comes, and that's a fastball 85 that misses low and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Matt Sullivan on deck. 1 out away. 1 pitch, gets some contact, and hopefully it's hit right at somebody to retire the side. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Hold is set, kicks and delivers home, and again misses in that same spot with the previous pitch, low and away.
You know, the last great pitch Holt made was to Robert Swenson to get the strikeout. It was either a fastball with some great late movement or a slider, and it tailed away from the hitter. Since then, he's lost that command a bit, and this has been the story with the Wolverine pitching this season, the inconsistency.
2 balls and no strikes. The 2-0 pitch comes in, a slider on the knees, 2-1. There's a good pitch right there.
I think that was the slow curve. That was a beautiful pitch, staying in on the inside corner. Really kind of froze Stroshine at the plate.
You know, you and I talked about it off air last night. We talked about how do you coach inconsistency, and you know you really can't. The 2-1 pitch misses low, ball 3. It's 3 balls and a strike. I guess use the bad moments as great teaching moments, but then praise them in the good moments. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah,
but
I think you teach or you try to work on inconsistency just by coaching everything else. It's tough. And now a hitter's count here for the go-ahead run at the plate.
3-1 pitch on its way, comes inside, called strike 2, and it's 3-2 as Stroshine looks like started to take a little step towards first base.
That may have been a gift for Logan Holt. I thought it was inside.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Schmidt at second, Friend at first, probably on the move here, with 2 away in the top of the 7th inning.
A base hit here that would not score the runner from first may very well score him, because with as you said, Ryan, the count full and 2 outs, the runners will be taking off.
Hold set, checks the runner at second, now turns and looks him back, which nobody was close. Bogdan and Page weren't even anywhere near the base, so maybe just letting him know, hey, I know you're there and I know you're going to be running. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. Runner set, they are moving. 3-2 pitch is going to be fouled away, and we'll have another 3-2 pitch upcoming.
That tying run waiting at first base. Chicago State has left 6 men on base so far in this ballgame.
They are 2 for 11 today with runners in scoring position. 3 balls and 2 strikes to count. The delivery home is going to be swung on and fouled back again, and we'll do for the 3rd time a 3-2 pitch coming here to Jordan Stroshine.
Nice battle here between Stroshine and Hold.
Runners will once again be on the move as we play baseball. Top of the 7th inning, Utah Valley 7, Chicago State 5. Runners get their lead over at first and second. Hold takes a look at second, delivers the 3-2 pitch, low, ball 4, and Chicago State's low to the bases, and now the tying run is in scoring position on at second base, and the bases are loaded for Matt Sullivan.
And the go-ahead run is at first base, and here comes Eric Matson. I believe he's going to make a change. See who he goes with here. It's going to be the right-hander. That is Brett Snyder, I believe, coming in to relieve Logan Holt.
And so we'll take a short break here. We'll let Snyder go through his warm-up tosses. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the right-hander. You're watching Utah Valley University Baseball here on WolverineGreen.com.
Back here on WolverineGreen.com, the Wolverines lead 7-5 in the top half of the 7th inning. However, with 2 outs and the bases loaded, the Cougars are threatening. New pitcher on for the Wolverines. It is Brett Snyder. Snyder this season, looking through the stats sheet here, and I don't see him. I'm looking.
Snyder's making his 6th appearance of the season, 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 3 of which have been earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .381 off him, a 6.23 ERA.
I just found it. I got this.
You want to give us those stats, Jordan?
No. Did
Okay.
you do it? Did you?
Okay, sounds good.
All
You know,
right.
we'll
Okay.
I got you this time, you know. So base is full with 2 outs for Matt Sullivan to stand in to face Brett Snyder, the freshman from Sandy, Utah, and Alta High School. Delivers his first pitch. It was a breaking ball. It gets in there for a strike at 65 miles an hour. Probably the slowest pitch today that Matt Sullivan has seen from this Utah Valley pitching staff.
Yeah, the slow curveball there, and heading out to the mound to just, I think, make sure they're on the same page is Rainier. I wonder, Rainier didn't seem to be fooled by the pitch, but you don't want to get crossed up in this situation.
Well, it's just something you don't see too often. A fresh pitcher come out of the bullpen, go first pitch breaking ball, too, as well. The 0-1 pitch, Snyder delivers the fastball off the plate, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
And go ahead, Ryan. Oh, I apologize. Snyder, that if he can command that fastball at 86 miles an hour and counter it with a 65 mile an hour curveball, he's going to be very tough to hit.
1 ball and 1 strike the count. Snyder delivers home. And that one's going to be lined into the left center field gap. It's going to sit. Coming in to score, Schmidt. Friend right behind him. The relay throw will hold. Stroshine at third. And we are tied at 7 here in the 7th inning after a 2-run single by Matt Sullivan.
Sullivan coming up big in Chicago State once again. Never quitting. They were down 6-0 in this game, and now we're all tied up.
And the leading run for the Cougars, sitting 90 feet away with the top of the lineup and the hot-hitting Jared Patterson coming to the plate. Jared didn't have a hit coming in, and now has a double in the 3rd, a single in the 5th and 6th innings. Hitting .304 in that leadoff spot here, a chance to give the Cougars the lead. Snyder sets, runners going, and Rainier will hold it as it looks like I think he had a hard time with the transfer from where the pitch was, and easily taking the second base. There's Matt Sullivan, and now 2 men in scoring position for Chicago State. So 1 ball and no strikes the count. Mattingly Romanen in the on-deck circle would be the 9th man to come to the plate if the inning should continue. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Snyder kicks and delivers. That swung on and popped high up. Giving it a look is going to be Page in shallow right field. He's going to give away to Kruger, who comes in and makes the catch. And Chicago State will strand 2. But the Cougars do the damage. They score 3 in the 7th. It's time to stand and stretch here at Brent Brown Ballpark, where we're locked at 7. Hold on tight, everyone. It's going to be a great next couple innings. You're watching Utah Valley University Baseball on WolverineGreen.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. It's time for the 7th inning stretch, and take me out to the ball game.
Back here on WolverineGreen.com, bottom of the 7th inning, and Chicago State and Utah Valley tied at 7 in this one as we are in the Bottom of the 7th inning. It will be 6, 7, and 8. Seth Rainier, Palmer Page, and Jordan Schlehuber coming up. And the first pitch to Rainier is low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Rainier doubled and scored, tripled and scored, and has flown out to right. The delivery home from Thomas misses again. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Seth Rainier. Zach Thomas, the left-hander, has gone 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, 1 run, which was earned, walked 1, and has struck out 2. The 2-0 pitch comes over, it looks like, with a changeup that hits the inside corner, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Thomas, the left-hander, sets, slides, and delivers the 2-0 pitch. Rainier swings and fouls it away, and we'll do the 2-2 over again. Since Thomas has come in, Seth Rainier, I believe, has the only hit off of Thomas, and that was that double. The 2-2 pitch, that one swung on and fouled away, and we'll do another 2-2. That one went up back there onto the berm. Rainier got a good piece of the baseball, but just drove it foul. The 2-2 pitch as Thomas delivers home, breaking ball, and that's off the plate, ball 3. Now the count runs full to the Wolverine leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 7th, Seth Rainier. Rainier came into the ball game 1 for 8 in the series. A 3-2 pitch is going to be appeal the first. He did not go. Ball 4, and Seth Rainier walks. Rainier was about 4 steps down the line before the appeal the first was made. And so Seth Rainier, for the 3rd time in this one, is on. And the Wolverines have the leading run on base for Palmer Page. Page was hit by a pitch, had a nice sacrifice fly back in the 3rd, and struck out back in the 2nd. His first game of the 2015 season for Utah Valley. Getting the start in there at second base today. Zach Fuller moving from second base to the DH spot. Thomas, the left-hander, kicks that one up just above the head of Palmer Page. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Right-hander getting loose down in the bullpen for Chicago State. Utah Valley pen quiet at the time. 1-0 pitch comes home. That one misses low and away, ball 2, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes on Palmer Page. Just a great day for baseball. Not a cloud in the sky. The temperatures are warmed up to where it's comfortable to be outside today. Not that it wasn't comfortable the last couple of nights at the ballpark, but just a little on the chilly side. We haven't even used the heater today.
Yeah, we haven't fired up the space heater. It's a beautiful day.
2 balls and no strikes the count. Thomas kicks and delivers home, and that one hits the outside corner to Palmer Page. There's that one. Thomas does a nice job there of just hitting that corner. Tuesday night, Utah Valley heads over to play BYU. That one in Provo. The Cougars hosting Portland in a 3-game series. Their starting pitcher, Mahoney, had 15 strikeouts the other night against the Pilots of Portland in a West Coast Conference play.
Yeah, Tuesday night, that ball game will be televised on BYU TV. Of course, what you can do is mute the TV and sync up the UVU radio.
2-1 pitch, that one high and tight as Page kind of turns out of the way, and the count goes to 3-1. So you get the nice TV side of it, but then listen to us.
Sure, you want to see the ball game on television? Yeah, wonderful. I think you should. But do you want to what do you want to hear what's really going on?
Best of both worlds, right?
Absolutely.
A 3-1 pitch, and that one missed. Ball 4. I don't think Palmer Page thought it missed either, and finally he goes, oh wait, that's ball 4. So back-to-back walks to begin the inning here, and Utah Valley's got something going with Jordan Schlehuber coming up.
The pitching in this ballgame has been so inconsistent, as one of the Chicago State coaches will head to the mound and they're going to make a change. So I'll finish that thought when we come back.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on WolverineGreen.com. Pitching change in the bottom of the 7th. Wolverines are threatening. We'll see what Jordan Schlehuber and the Wolverines can do after the break here on WolverineGreen.com.
New pitcher on for Chicago State here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 2 men on, nobody out for the Wolverines. We're all knotted up at 7. The new pitcher on for Chicago State is Nick Kostelik. So, Kostelik, will the right-hander will come on. He is the one that gave up the game-winning hit to Andy Perkins last night. So, trying to redeem himself here.
So Kostelik will go up against Jordan Schlehuber. Schlehuber walked in the 5th, lined out in the 3rd on a ball that was hit. I mean, it was an impressive play by Sullivan to jump, but we're not sure exactly how he read that, whether he misread that at first or not. But he made a nice leaping catch in the air and then grounded out to Sullivan. Back in the 2nd was Schlehuber. So we'll see here if Utah Valley is going to try to move the runners over for the hot-hitting Zach Fuller, and Schlehuber immediately turns as Kostelik steps off the mound and looks the runner back to 2nd. A big week coming up for Utah Valley, baseball-wise, as they'll get BYU, Sacramento State, and then a trip up to Utah. That one comes inside for a ball. Schlehuber kind of turns the back away as charging with Schmidt and Gertensen. I get charging, but it would really concern me being the first or third baseman, seeing that bunt, and then when they pull it back and go to swing, that'd be the last thing I'd want to see, charging like that. But I get the theory behind it. As the pitch comes, and that one misses high, as again Schlehuber pulls the bunt back, and it's 2-0. Looks like the old wheel play on here, where the second base and the shortstop will go cover each bag there. The shortstop, Sullivan, rotating over to cover 3rd, and then Romanin covering 1st. Schlehuber again pulls the bunt back. This time the pitch hits the outside corner from Kostelik for a called strike. 0-1, or 2-1 on Schlehuber. Kind of a 3/4 arm release or so from Kostelik. Schlehuber turns again, squares the bunt. Lays it down right in front of home plate. Nice bunt laid down. The throw over to 1st in time to move the runners over. So right there, Schlehuber does his job. Moves the runners into scoring position. And the sacrifice is retained 3-4. And there's one out for Zach Fuller. And really right now, a perfect time to have Schlehuber bunt, because you got 9, 1, and 2 coming up. Fuller, Andrus, and Kruger.
And exactly. And I was going to mention Fuller, who's red hot right now. The infield coming in here for Chicago State.
So the Cougars will try to cut the run down. Fuller had a sacrifice fly in his last at-bat. Same thing here would work, and the first pitch taken for a called strike, 73-mile-an-hour breaking ball. That had some good movement back across the plate, and it's 0-1. Kind of looked like a slider there.
Yeah, they say when the infield comes in, it raises your batting average by 50 points, because any bloop now will be a base hit.
The 0-1 pitch, a fastball, comes inside for a ball. Jordan Stroshine out in right field was playing further over towards the line. They moved him now almost out into right center field, so a lot of room down that right field line if Fuller put one there. Not a lot of room in the right center field gap now.
Everybody playing pretty shallow out there.
1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch comes home. Fuller's going to chop that one through the left side for a base hit. Rainier will score. They're going to hold Page at 3rd. And Utah Valley's regained the lead 8-7 here in the 3rd.
Just a chopper that found the 5.5 hole in between the shortstop and third baseman. Ground ball with eyes.
The 3rd time tonight that this afternoon that Seth Rainier has scored. And now with 1 away, back to the top of the lineup in Cade Andrus. And this is when you have to be careful if you're Chicago State, because the bats that are coming up have the potential to make this not just a 1-run ball game, but they could open this one up.
And if you're UVU, that's exactly what you're thinking. It's time to open this one up. It's time to put in the dagger.
The pitch comes, and that misses low for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to the count. 1 ball and no strikes to the count on Cade Andrus. Runners on the corners, Palmer Page at 3rd. Zach Fuller, the RBI single, is the runner over at first base. Fuller had a stolen base back in the second. We'll see here if he goes sometime in this at-bat. The step over to third, throw to first, but Fuller is back, and it evens the count. The count's still 1-0 because it's not a pitch. Big hole in that right side for Andrus with Schmidt holding on Fuller at first. The pitch comes home. That one swung on, hit well out to center. Going back is Patterson. He's going to have to chase this one still, and the ball's off the top of the wall. Scoring is Page. Right behind him is Fuller. Andrus slides into third with an RBI with a 2-run triple, and Utah Valley has taken a 10-7 lead here in the seventh.
Andrus got a hold of that one. That ball hit off the top of the wall, as you said, Ryan, just to the right of the 408 marker. That ball was absolutely clobbered.
And, it's just kind of interesting. That is Cade Andrus' 7th RBI in the series. And it surprises me to think again, Patterson again plays in, and it's like the 4th time in the series where he's had to chase one to the wall. I mean, I guess maybe they haven't learned yet to play a little more deeper. Kruger stands in and takes a strike at the knees, 0-1, or maybe it's in the scouting report to play shallow. I don't know. But I would have thought after seeing that happen at least once a game that you would maybe play a few steps back. No balls and a strike to Kruger. Infield in. That was going to be rolled over to first. It's fielded and taken to the bag by Schmidt, and there's 2 outs. Most importantly there, the runner isn't able to come in to score, so there's quickly 2 outs here in the 7th. And Grayson Bogdan coming up, trying to get that runner home from third.
Yeah, the tough part about going back to where the center fielder and the outfield is how they've been playing. The tough part about this ballpark or making that decision is that center field to left center field is huge. It's like it's not like old Yankee Stadium, but that was much larger.
And that one by Bogdan swung on, hit pretty well out to left field. That's going to fall and roll to the wall. Andrus will score. Bogdan takes the turnaround second. He's going to go to third. The relay to throw is going to be held, and Bogdan slides in with an RBI triple.
And that proved my point right there. Bogdan hit it out into the wide open spaces in left center field, where that one was well to maybe 40 feet, 50 feet to the left of the 427 marker. But that's what I'm talking about, is it's tough as a center fielder in this ballpark to decide where you are going to play. There's so much room to cover out in center and left center. But Bogdan coming up big there.
And so with 2 outs, Spencer Gothberg comes up, and some clutch hitting for Utah Valley. They are 8 for 19 with runners on today, and the first pitch to Gothberg in at the knees, in about belt high for a called strike. They're 6 for 16 though with runners in scoring position, and every time Chicago State gets a little momentum, they come back and get the bats going. The 0-1 pitch again paints the outside corner on the breaking ball, and it's 0-2 to Gothberg. Andy Perkins, the 9th man to come to the plate, sits in the on-deck circle for Utah Valley if Gothberg should reach. 0-2 pitch on its way and fouled away over towards the Utah Valley University dugout. No balls and 2 strikes the count. Utah Valley 11 runs on 12 hits. No balls and 2 strikes to count. The delivery comes home, misses low, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on the UVU cleanup hitter. Gothberg has a couple of RBIs in this one. 1-2 pitch on its way home is fouled away as Gothberg just got the top of the baseball to foul that one back. Gothberg with an RBI ground out back in the 3rd and a RBI single in the 4th. Just a chopper that got through into the left side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch comes home, and Gothberg fouls that one away, as it looks like it made some contact with Swenson behind home plate, and he'll just kind of shake it off for a second, and we'll be back ready to play some baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count to the first baseman, Spencer Gothberg. Outfield straight away, Patterson playing about where he typically does in center field. 1-2 pitch comes home. Gothberg grounds that one to short, and it's going to be mishandled by the shortstop, Sullivan, and coming in to score is going to be the runner at third, Grayson Bogdan, and reaching on the I would assume that's got to be an error against Spencer, or not against Spencer Gothberg, but against Matt Sullivan.
Yeah, it's been a tough afternoon for Sullivan. That's his second error that's really cost his club. You have to feel for him out there. Now he had to charge that ball, and it may have taken a tough bounce, but he was, as soon as the ball trickled past him, or rather Karam kind of popped up in the air past him, he was very upset with himself.
The first pitch to Andy Perkins is in there for a called strike. Perkins on the day has an RBI single back in the third, a strikeout on his afternoon so far with a ground out and a fly out mixed in. 0-1 pitch comes home, and Perkins fouls that one back over towards the Chicago State dugout. Action now looks like getting loose down. That might be Brett Snyder just throwing some pitches to keep his arm warm. No balls and 2 strikes to count as it's been a long 7th inning. Pickoff move, and I think there Kostalik realized he wasn't going to get him and just lobbed it over there. And if you're Utah Valley, you would love the idea to be able to save some of your bullpen for that game on Tuesday against BYU, as Perkins fouls that one away. And it'll be no balls and 2 strikes to Andy Perkins. Projected to be Jake Mayer is the idea coming from Jordan and I, who it would be. Mayer got the ball last time those two teams played, back on March the 10th, in a 10-7 win for BYU. 0-2 pitch on its way, grounded right past the diving first baseman into the right field corner. That's going to go all the way to the warning track, taking the turn. They're going to hold the runner there. The ball comes bouncing into the infield. Gothberg had to hold, though, to see what was going on, and Utah Valley is going to bat around here in the 7th inning on a double by Andy Perkins.
Yeah, great piece of hitting by Perkins just down the first base bag. I've been impressed all series long with Chicago State's outfield. That was played terrifically down there by Jordan Stroshine as he cut it off, as you mentioned, Ryan, in foul territory on the track, and then made a good throw to hold the runner at third from scoring.
And so it's one of those things for Chicago State that's been just a tough series. Anytime they get momentum, Utah Valley's found a way to respond. Both of these clubs very resilient, and the first pitch to Seth Rainier misses for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Rainier led off the 7th inning with a walk and then came around to score on the Zach Fuller RBI single. Rainier, the junior from Provo, Utah. The 1-0 pitch comes in, and that one missed inside. It's ball 2, 2-0. Had to kind of think there for a second where that missed. 2 balls and no strikes. Rainier waving the bat around, kind of circling it over his shoulder as he hits. And the 2-0 pitch swung on and fouled down into the UVU bullpen, where all seems to be quiet for the moment down there, as some offense has come here in the bottom of the 7th to open this one up, and 8 runs combined have been scored here in the 7th inning at Brent Brown Ballpark.
The wind really beginning to gust in from center field.
2-1 pitch. Rainier grounds that one to short. In the hole, it's going to be Sullivan. His long throw across is in time to get Rainier, and the 7th inning comes to an end. So, Utah Valley, though, does the damage. They score 5 in the 7th inning to take a 12-7 lead here at Brent Brown Ballpark. We'll see what Chicago State answers with in the top of the 8th inning right here on WolverineGreen.com.
Pepsi is proud to be a major sponsor of Utah Valley University Athletics. Pepsi. Every generation refreshes the world. UVU leads it 12-7 as we head to the top of the 8th inning here in Orem. Back out on the mound for the Wolverines is Brett Snyder. To lead things off, it'll be Mattingly Romanen.
Romanen stands in and takes a first pitch fastball away, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Here in the 8th, it's going to be Romanen, Matheson, and Gertensen coming up as Snyder delivers the 1-0 high and away, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. As quickly coming in will be Grayson Bogdan just to have a quick word with Snyder. Brett Snyder, the tall right-hander, set ready to go, delivers the 2-0 pitch. And that's going to be in there at the knees for a called strike. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. They count on Romanen, and that one's popped up foul, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Utah Valley trying to find a way to hold on to this, take a series sweep, but that's a little bit easier said than done with the way Chicago State's been able to fight back when trailing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Snyder kicks and delivers home, and that one away, ball 3, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, Bakersfield took care of North Dakota. 7-0 the final there.
And that one swung on line right back up through the box for a base hit as Mattingly Romanen's on with a single here to start the 8th inning.
Seattle leading Sacramento State 1-0. That ball game in the top of the 3rd. Seattle going for the sweep of Sac State up in the Great Northwest. Grand Canyon leading UT Pan American in the bottom of the 2nd inning. That game, Grand Canyon leading 3-0. That game in Phoenix. New Mexico State trailing Northern Colorado in Las Cruces 5-3 in the top of the 4th.
A first pitch to Matheson high for a ball. The interesting thing about that Seattle-Sacramento State score, potentially Utah Valley and Sacramento State could be tied in the standings coming into next weekend's 3-game set here in Orem. 1 ball and no strikes. The pitch comes in, and that's in there just around belt high for a called strike, 1-1. So that could get interesting.
Well, Seattle's playing great ball. If they win today, they'll improve to 8-1 in conference play. Grand Canyon also playing great ball, but they don't qualify for postseason appearance.
Now, I believe the way it works when it comes to the tournament, the first and second place team have kind of a first round bye. 4 plays 6, and I want to say 3 plays 4 then.
Yeah, and last year, the tournament, it's who's hot, who's playing well, because UVU went into that tournament last year. They were not playing or had not had a terrific regular season, but they went into that tournament playing well and came within 1 game of going to that College World Series regional.
1 ball and 1 strike to count. Brett Snyder delivers home, and that one misses low for the ball, and it's 2 balls and a strike. And really, when you talk about a postseason tournament, it seems like it's like that in multiple sports where it's really about who can get hot at the right time. Obviously talent always, competes well. 2 balls and a strike. The delivery comes home. That one's going to be grounded to second. Page is going to slide, couldn't come up with it. So back-to-back singles here to start the 8th inning, and Chicago State responding well to trailing as a couple of men come up for Andy Gertensen, who went yard in the 7th.
Yeah, Page tried to make a sliding grab and a pivot on his knee to throw to second, but just couldn't quite come up with the baseball. The tournament, it's always been interesting to me that the winner of the conference tournament, and it's the same within basketball and in baseball, gets an automatic bid to either the NCAA tournament or the College World Series, whereas the winner of the regular season conference,
as that pitch misses low for a ball, 1-0 to Gertensen.
as the winner of the regular season conference, you get a 1 seed, but you don't get that automatic thing. It kind of, in my opinion, it kind of devalues the regular conference season.
Snyder went to throw to second, but Page wasn't there. And the interesting thing is, I think in the and it's in college basketball they figured that out, where at least if you win the regular season and don't win your conference tournament, you have the bid to the NIT. As that one swung on and popped up down the right field line. Kruger in right field is going to get there. He's going to make the play, and he's going to make a good throw into Grayson Bogdan at second base. So the runners will have to hold for a big first out there. An F9 in the scorebook at home, and with one out, that brings up Matt Schmidt. But yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. You know, you play in the regular season, and then you win your conference, play well, you go to the tournament, say have a bad day, and all of a sudden you're out because you just lost at the wrong time.
And that's especially true in baseball, because baseball is meant to be played many, many times. I mean, there's a reason they play 162 games in big league baseball. It's a marathon. It's the best team will come out on top when you play more and more games, because as we've seen, a pitcher can have a bad outing on a given night.
The first pitch in there, a called strike to Matt Schmidt, a fastball that hits the inside corner.
And that's not necessarily indicative of how well your ball club is playing or how good your club is.
No balls and a strike to the left-handed hitting Matt Schmidt. Schmidt on the night, last at bat, a single and a run scored in the 7th inning. So it's the safe part of the lineup causing trouble here, and that one blocked by Rainier. In the dirt, count even at 1-1 as Marco Briones gets loose down in the pen, and a right-hander for Utah Valley throwing as well.
I've always thought it's always been my opinion. I've never wanted to see baseball become what the NBA or NHL is, where half the teams get into the playoffs and it turns into just an end of season tournament after such a long season.
1-1 pitch. That's a ground ball past the diving Jordan Schley-Huber into left field. Coming around third and scoring is Romanin. And it's 12-8 here in the 8th inning as Chicago State puts one up.
Chicago State, man, they just do not have quit in them. They continue to battle. And I think we're going to have a pinch hitter here.
We are. That's number 25, Stanford Hunt. Hunt DH'd in last night's ball game. So he'll hit here for Robert Swenson, the catcher. Hunt, a right-handed hitter in his at-bat last night. Did pretty well yesterday, going 2 for 5, hitting 400 in the series with an RBI. He'll hit here for the catcher. Hunt, a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, and Kenwood High School, and that one misses away for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things you don't want to see it just be, well, half the league gets in. But especially, you talk about it, Jordan, especially in a conference like the WAC, when you're probably only going to get one team in.
Exactly.
1-0 pitch swung on and fouled away. I mean, potentially you could say maybe if Sacramento State won 40 games, maybe they would be considered. But I mean, really, the safest way to do it is win that conference tournament. Is the best way to get in.
And that's the problem with a mid-major conference or not a Power 5, I guess they call them now, not being in a Power 5 conference. You're not going to get an at-large bid.
0-1 pitch misses high for ball 2, 2 balls and a strike. Or you have to win consistently and really prove that, hey, even though we are in a mid-major, we can compete.
And you got to beat a lot of good out-of-conference opponents early on in the year. But at the same time, the tournament is a lot of fun. But it does, I think, it's an extra challenge, I guess you could say.
Hunt swings at the 2-1 pitch and fouls it away. Will even it up, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's an extra challenge for if your team is all that good. That's just another element of the season that you have to deal with. Is that week-long tournament where anything can happen? How does your team respond when in that kind of situation? I guess you could say.
2 balls and 2 strikes, they count. And especially when you talk about getting into elimination games and when the pressure's really on. It's one thing to lose a game, no, there's another one tomorrow, but all of a sudden when you're playing for your season, teams get resilient really quickly. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Stanford Hunt. And the pitch comes home. Hunt swings and misses, and Brett Snyder gets the strikeout. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. First strikeout of the night for Brett, or on the afternoon, and now that's going to bring up Cody Friend, the designated hitter. Snyder just kind of roared back and threw that one, and Hunt couldn't catch up. So with 2 outs, it's going to be Cody Friend. Friend walked, grounded out twice, and walked in another at-bat earlier in the game. With 2 outs, and Snyder kicks and delivers home. That was to be bounced right back up the middle. Bogdan's going to make a diving attempt. He got there. The throw to first in time. Bogdan started on the other side of second base, had a dive to the
second base
the second base side, and then get up and still make the throw to get a pretty quick Cody Friend, and he did. So Chicago State gets 1 in the 8th. Utah Valley still leads 12-8. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning at Brent Brown Ballpark, where the Wolverines are on top, 12-8. Back here on WolverineGreen.com, the bottom of the 8th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. The Wolverines coming up looking to add maybe a run or two of insurance heading to the top of the 9th inning. And they're going to have Palmer Page, Jordan Schlehuber, and Zach Fuller coming up. And the first pitch to Page is low for a ball, and it's 1-0. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Page swings and pops that one up and actually hit it pretty well out to left field. Going back on it is Matheson, and he is there to make the play. And the first out of the 8th inning is recorded. Pretty good fly, pretty good ball hit by Page. I didn't think it had that much on it, but it ended up that it did. So 1 out for Jordan Schlehuber. Schlehuber's had a couple of good at-bats, finding his way on. In the 7th, he had the sacrifice bunt that moved runners up to 2nd and 3rd, and he takes a first pitch called strike, and it's 0-1. Looks like, is that Cody Friend behind home plate? And it is. Ground ball hit right to 2nd. Romanin is there, and there's 2 away. So 2 outs for Zach Fuller. So defensive changes coming out of the game is Swenson, and it's going to be Cody Friend behind home plate. I think that's the only change defensively for Chicago State. So here comes Zach Fuller. Fuller with an RBI single in the 7th and an RBI back in the 5th on a sacrifice fly. So a good couple of RBI opportunities for Fuller on the day, and that ball misses away. 1 ball and no strikes. Some action going in the Utah Valley bullpen. A right-hander. Trying to think if that's who that is, and the first pitch is low and away for a ball. It's 1-1.
That's Eric O'Gein down there getting loose.
Eric O'Gein. Valgardson typically closes games, and that one hit the outside corner, but Valgardson threw 4 or 5 innings in last night's ball game. A 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3, and Utah Valley goes down 1-2-3 here in the 8th. So Chicago State has some work to do. They're going to need 4 runs in the 9th to tie, 5 to take the lead. We'll see if the Cougars have one last run in them, and they'll have to do it against the Utah Valley pitching staff. We'll see who the pitcher is when we begin the 9th inning here on WolverineGreen.com. Top of the 9th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark as new pitcher for the Wolverines, number 28, Eric Olguin, will take over on the mound. Olguin making his 7th appearance of the year. He's got 2 saves and a 5 and a third innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting 158 off of him, no ERA, and in a situation where it's not quite a safe situation for Olguin, but he has a chance here to shut the door on Chicago State and preserve this Wolverine sweep. And we'll see if Chicago State, Jordan, we've talked about it all game long, and you're going to describe the 9th inning and just, poetically for everyone at home. We'll see if Chicago State has one last rally in them, and we'll see if that happens. And to tell you all about it, my partner in the booth, my colleague, Jordan Bianucci.
Thank you, Ryan. Jordan Stroshine strolls to the plate, calm.
I like that there, Jordan,
Like a bird in the early morning. The first pitch from Olguin. Ooh, down and in. The ball tumbling forward like a boulder down a rocky ridge.
All right, I'm going to put a note of
One
my
ball,
book.
no strike.
Don't describe Jordan Bianucci's announcing as poetic anymore.
Come on, that was gold. There's a strike called on the outside corner. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. 12-8, Wolverines leading. Bases empty, top of the 9th. Digging in there with his back foot is Stroshine, the right-handed batter. Olguin from the windup. The kick, the throw. 1-1 is down, or rather inside, fastball missing. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Wolverines looking to complete the sweep. Here in the top of the 9th, they lead by 4 runs. A 2-1 pitch is down in the dirt, and it's 3-1. So the last thing the Wolverines need is to walk the leadoff man. They did that back in the first inning, which it did not lead to a run, luckily for UVU. 3-1 pitch. There's a fastball on the outside corner, strike 2, and the count is full. Olguin, 6'1", 190-pound sophomore out of Aurora, Colorado. Went to Grandview High School. Stroshine hitting 194 on the year. He swings at a low pitch. It's a little chopper down the third base side. Coming in was Jordan Schlehuber, but then Olguin jumped off the mound and tried to barehand it in front of the third baseman, and in there with a base hit is Stroshine. So we saw that same type of play earlier from Chicago State defensively, and right there again, not a good decision by Olguin. I don't think they would have had the runner either way, but Olguin didn't give Schlehuber a chance to make a play on the ball. It would have been a much easier play for Schlehuber coming in from third. So the leadoff man on as a ball misses down low to Matt Sullivan. Sullivan had an RBI, or rather 2 RBI single in the 7th inning. That was part of a 3-run 7th for the Cougars. 1-0 pitch, Fastball misses down and away, and it's 2 balls, no strikes, and Rainier is going to take time and go have a word with Eric O'Gean on the mound. The wind still blowing in from right field. Playing very shallow in right is Mark Kruger. Pretty deep in left is Perkins. Andrus middle, maybe a bit shallow in center field. (12-8). Wolverines leading. Top of the ninth. A man on, nobody out. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball misses well inside to Sullivan, and it's 3-0. So O'Gean really having a hard time finding the strike zone right now. O'Gean from the stretch. Comes set, chest high. There's a fastball. He poured it in there at 86 miles an hour, and the count's 3-1. O'Gean does not come with a big leg kick, just a small move, a simple delivery, working on the far right-hand side of the rubber. And there's a strike taken, and it's 3-2. So O'Gean works his way back into the at-bat, or rather back into the count. It's 3-2 now. Waiting on deck is the top of the order and Jared Patterson. The pitch. Chopped foul, a fastball, into the UVU dugout, and the count remains full. The Cougars need base runners, trailing by 4 runs here in the 9th inning. Cougars have actually out-hit the Wolverines 15-13. However, the Cougars have 3 errors to the Wolverines 2. Payoff pitch coming. That one swung on, a hard grounder to third. This could be 2. Schleichhuber goes to second, and it's dropped by Palmer Page. The throw was a little high, but Page should have had it. That's going to be an error, and they're going to give it to the third baseman. And they're going to give it to the third baseman because Schleichhuber threw it up high. But it's an error on the third baseman, but it's one of those where it's a play that should have been made still by Palmer at second base. So Chicago State has 2 runners on.
I'm thinking maybe the ball just came up, and instead of hitting him up in the webbing of the glove, just hits him in the palm, and it can be kind of hard to fully close the glove when the ball hits you in the palm. That's why you're always encouraged to catch it in the webbing, because you can completely close it, especially not when you're worried about catching it and quickly turning to get 2.
And I don't know if he would have had 2, but they at least would have had 1. Here's the pitch to Patterson. Misses down low. 1 ball, no strikes. So the tying run is on deck. Jared Patterson at the plate right now, hitting from the right side. He is 3 for 4 on the afternoon. Double, 2 singles, run scored, a walk back in the first. Popped up in his last at-bat. 1-0 pitch, fastball, strike 1.
You just really don't want to get too far into this middle of the lineup. Romanen's going to hit here, barring something, crazy happening. But you don't want to get into Matheson, Gertensen, and some of those middle guys who have some pop.
Bottom of the 9th inning. Wolverines with a 4-run lead, 2 men on, nobody out for the Cougars. 1-1 pitch. Fastball misses down in. I say fastball. There was a slider that missed down and in. 2 balls, 1 strike. O'Gean steps off the rubber, puts his right hand to his mouth, and then wipes it on his pant leg. Now peers in. Rainier gives him the sign. O'Gean comes set. Doesn't bother looking at the runners. A fastball way up high, almost hit Patterson in the head, and it's 3-1. It'll be interesting if Patterson reaches here. We may see a pitching change. We have a lefty. The UVU has a lefty and a righty getting loose.
Marco Briones and Hunter Smith both getting loose down in the UVU bullpen.
3-1 pitch. Fastball. Missed above the belt. He walked him. A great take by Jared Patterson. And we have yet to see Eric Mattson come out of the dugout. Bases are loaded. Here comes the tying run.
And now Eric Mattson comes out of the dugout, and he's going to make a pitching change.
It's going to be Hunter Smith. So we will take a break here on WolverineGreen.com. UVU baseball. Torture. Bases loaded. Tying run coming to the plate in the ninth. Nobody out. Hunter Smith coming in for UVU. Utah Valley, you're listening to Utah Valley Baseball, on WolverineGreen.com.
Top of the ninth inning, things starting to get interesting again. Chicago State always kind of hanging around, and right now they have the bases full, tying run coming to the plate, and Mattingly Romanin, and they'll try to see what they can do against the right-hander Hunter Smith, making his 10th appearance, a 3.0 ERA, 1-0 record on the year, 9 innings, 12 hits, 4 runs, 3 of which have been earned, 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .324 off of him, and Jordan, one thing this whole series has been, outside of maybe Thursday night's game, these last, about 17, 18 innings have been very interesting and good. I mean, not great baseball, but
yeah,
close games. We should put it that way.
So here we go. Bases loaded. Nobody out. 12-8, the Wolverines leading. First pitch from Smith in there for a called strike. Mattingly Romanin, the man at the plate. He singled in a run, his only hit of the day, back in the 5th inning. Smith working from the stretch with the bases loaded. The 0-1. That one swung on, chopped up the middle, coming over is Grayson Bogdan. He has it, steps on second, goes to first, double play! Well done by Grayson Bogdan. A chopper, played the in-between hop, gobbled it up, scooped it up, took it to second himself, and just like that, a run does come in to score, but there are 2 away with a man on third, and here's Chase Matheson. What a huge play in this ball game.
And you'll take that. You'll give him the 1 run for the 2 outs there, and that also did take the other runs off the base path.
First pitch to Matheson, grounded to short. Bogdan has it. This should do it. Throws to first. Ball game. The Wolverines win it. After a whole lot of interesting things happened in that ball game. Unbelievable. Great effort by Chicago State, a great series. The Wolverines do sweep the series, however, and win this final game by a final of 12-9 as the Wolverines shake hands over the pitcher's mound, and then the teams will, as is tradition, shake hands at the end of the series with the other club. We'll take a break here on WolverineGreen.com and come back to you with the post-game show after this. Once again, the Wolverines win Game 3 of this 3-game set by a final of 12-9. We'll be back after this.